G'day, boys. G'day, boys. Can anyone hear me? Give me a mic check. Give me a mic check. Can anyone hear me? Hear me? Can anyone hear me now? Hi, 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 hi. I'm in chat. Someone tell me if you can hear the sound. That would be good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please say yes. Please say yes. No, shit. Is this audio not coming through? I'm yapping and no one's saying yes. I can hear you. We can hear. Thank you, B-Man. Audible. Mic check confirmed. Good, good, good. Is volume okay? It should be. It's same as last time I streamed, which should be fine. Holy schmoly. Let's just send it straight away. I'm not going to... Oh, what chat? Yes, we can hear you. Hi, yes, we can hear you. Hello, Dominic DeMuro. Hello, B-Man 2R2U. The freakiest of history. Is it true that the most protective body armor is plot armor? True. Certainly true, says the freakiest of history. Yes, 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 yes. Let me off you. Unknown Marshall, are you there? Winterfell is kind of shit, to be honest. Thanks. Bay Ross, hello, love your content. Hoping to see more like this soon. Greetings from France. Hello, bonjour. Whatever, good night or good days. I think going for dramatic next. Okay, I'm not going to read all this chat. I've missed a bunch. Please do assault video next time, says Juka Bugava. Yep, I've done a few videos, assault videos. We'll talk about this and more moving forward in the stream. But today, tonight, wherever you are, morning, we are here to discuss the Battle of Winterfell, as done by me, Mr. CSRC, sitting under a tree. How do you see? Anyway, boys, I'm going to get straight into this one because the chat is ripping around. What do we got? 36 dudes? That's pretty good. That's a big bloody chat crowd. Happy with that. Welcome. Hi. Hello, everyone. If you're watching this in video form from the future, if you're time traveling, thanks for jumping on and watching the video. You dudes here in the chat, thank you for being here. Jumping in the bloody live. Most skits. Let's get into it, okay? For the uninitiated, I will focus in, lock in on the slides, then go back and read the chat. I'll get nothing done if I try read slide, read chat, read slide every between a dot point. So I'll focus a bit, then I'll jump back in the chat. If you're in the chat, don't bloody freak out, get your knickers in twisted. I'm ignoring you. It's just that I have to read what's on the screen in it. And then I'll come over and see what was said and caught back up, right? First of all, as always, what we're doing today, we're going to discuss the comments, talk behind the scenes, and then I'll take some questions and we'll discuss what is next. Hey, look at that face from the Night King. That's kind of like got kind of a meme react face going on here. I think that's from when he's converting Da Baby, when he's turning Craster's Bubba into another White Walker. I digress. Here's the streams. Here's my one and only, call it what it is, almost ad for the entire stream. I've got a few other streams types that I do. Planning Room is members, as is the gaming. I've just finally finished bloody Far Cry with much gnashing of teeth. So I'm moving on from Far Cry somewhat relieved, I'll be honest. But the other ones like this one you guys are doing is the Debrief, and the Mixed Bag is the one that I also do. All access for everyone. Jump aboard for the big win if you want to come and plan some of these videos like me and the boys do. Get in there and you can talk about and contribute and make your impact on what goes on next. It's actually been very helpful having dudes in there to bounce ideas off and pressure test some of my ideas and all that. And it's really less of a silo now. That it's just not just me, my brain staring at the ceiling, thinking about Night Kings and Obsidian and Valerian Steel and all this sort of stuff. There's it's good once a week I can get in there and da boys and we kind of yarn about the plan. But that's that. Also, before I get into reading off some of the comments, which is 90% of what this PowerPoint is, yeah? So you are looking at a PowerPoint slide in case you haven't figured that out. I tricked you. You thought you were coming to a YouTube live stream with a real life YouTuber. You were wrong. You unwittingly have walked into a PowerPoint presentation like you're back in high school or the army or university or wherever it was you experienced PowerPoints. Anyway, before I get into some of the comments on the video, which is what most of these screenshots are going to be, I'll throw up this little Venn diagram. Is that a Venn diagram? I think it is. The overlapping circles and shit. That's the Venn diagram, right? Excuse me, I'm burping. This is sort of what I'm thinking about when I'm making these videos. I didn't have this little philosophy when I started, but it's kind of come to be this, right? When I'm thinking about everything that I'm balancing when I'm creating these, in terms of there's a bit going on. So these are the three overlapping things that I'm sort of considering. So I'm trying to be true to the source material, make a good or tactically sound plan, and also make a cool battle that goes well on video, right? And doing so, this is what happens. So I'm respecting the source material and the fans of said source material, which thus far I have been pretty much a fan of everything we've done. But eventually there will come a time when I'm branching out and doing maybe stuff that I'm not so familiar with. But yeah, I'll worry about that when I get to it. Like I said, developing a sound or workable is the bloody army jargon term for that, as in it's okay, it'll get the job done, maybe not the best, maybe not something Napoleon would approve of, but a workable tactical plan, thus providing a bit of, dare I say, education, information, being informative. And then finally creating, I suppose, a interesting battle, being entertaining, right? That's the fun part of the video. To some, the video might be fun in spite of the final battle animation. There might be people who enjoy, the 95% of it leading up to that. Others not so much. So these are kind of, I suppose, the different audiences as well that I have to balance when I'm making this. But this is my thoughts when I'm making it, right? So keep this in mind as we go through the comments. And I have flashed this up before. I think I flashed it up on after the Thermopylae video was when I came up with this kind of modus operandi. But yeah, this is sort of, it helps keep me focused, I suppose. Like, keeps me thinking, this is what I've got to weigh up whenever I'm writing the script. Does that make sense to everyone? You get what I mean? And if I do all that, forgot about this slide, hopefully I make a good bloody video and everyone likes it. Because that's the bloody goal, really. That's the bloody goal. Okay, chat, what's going on? Oh, I'm scrolling. I always do this. I start scrolling the PowerPoint instead of scrolling in the chat. How long is this going to be? Like probably an hour and a half. Far Cry's overhyped. I played it and it's absolute shit. Oh, it's old. Bloody hell, we're off to a negative Nancy start this chat, boys. Fuck me dead. What else we got? Oh, let me scroll up more. I think your chat is delayed. Volume is voluminous. Okay, I have an immediate okay, tactics. Okay, I'm not going to read out tactic stuff yet. Swap boy, Russian battalion tactical group rushing into. You remind me to talk about something later on. Economics explained about Winterfell. Gonna freak out, not gonna lie. What the fuck is going on in this chat tonight? Did the manpad suddenly one-shot up Valerian Steel and hence warheads? I'll get to that. Anyway, where is the freakiest of today? We were supposed to have our battle on Christmas Eve, the most romantic of days for our battle. What? Can I make a video suggestion? Yeah, you can. I'll probably definitely more see it at the end though. PowerPoints are cool. We're all Perrin fans too. That makes sense. There's a lot of Perrin fans crossover. PowerPoints are the best. Nice. This really is like any presentation of the armed forces. Yeah, that's how it goes. CSRC isn't he human? He's actually just a PowerPoint. Real, confirmed. Poet of Insanity 9655. Welcome to Supporter. Thank you for jumping aboard for the big win. Poet of Insanity 9655. Appreciate you. PowerPoints, where are they and why they're so powerful? Yes, sir. If snipers were available, wouldn't they target the generals of the Night King? Yes, I'll speak to that also. No, please re-explain it all again 4 times. I'm watching this at 2x speed so I can see the future, says Freakiest of History. Okay. Pie time. HK10 schmackos. Thanks, Pie. Appreciate you, man, for the 10 buckaroonies. Maybe IRL US Army 75th Rangers versus War Machine vids. Well, I've kind of already done the War Machine video, right? Like, I probably won't go dipping back into that anytime soon. You certainly could do a tactical analysis on it, but having just done the tactically speaking piss take video on it, probably just wouldn't be tactical, to use a maybe appropriate term in this case. Okay, boys, back to the slides. Fuck me dead. Anyway, here we are. Now I've got to make sure I'm scrolling on the slides and not scrolling on the chat. Can I see the chat? Yes. So guys, the first stack of slides here coming up, they're all kind of similarly themed. and some of them are popping up here in the live chat. It's why not use XYZ weapon system, or why didn't you use XYZ weapon systems? And I'll go through and list off a bunch of examples of these comments, because this was by far the most overwhelming trend in the comments section, was in terms of critique or criticism, I suppose, that was labeled at the video. It was, why did you not use this, or why did you not do that? Which is fine, like some fair criticisms in there. I will say there's much less, how would you describe it? I don't seem to have offended anyone greatly with this video, which is good, because like I will keep repeating, I'm not trying to piss people off by making these about their favorite franchise or fictional army or whatever it is. I'm genuinely not like trying to wind up Star Wars Imperial fans or Fallout NCR fans. But you know, it's gonna happen when invariably those factions are the, well, losers in these little animations that I'm making here for my silly internet videos. But of course, this one, I guess there's no one like cosplaying whites at Comic-Con and shit, and the White Walkers don't have, I guess people probably cosplay the White Walkers, they've got some aura. But yeah, there's just not like a huge fan base for undead ice zombies, right, compared to some of these other armies that we've covered in these video series. So I would put that down to a lot of it. Not to say that I made like a perfect video that made everyone happy, more so that there's just like there's less like zealots supporting like the army of the undead compared to some of the other ones. So I think that's kind of one of the main reasons why, yeah, I didn't really get slimed out too hard in the comment section, to be frank, to use a bit of Zoomer lingo. Yeah, it was pretty, I would say, overwhelmingly positive. And the criticisms that I did see mostly were pretty well put together and pretty fair. But anyway, these first ones, like I said, are kind of similarly themed, just with interchangeable weapons. So we'll get into some of these now. Dogs S11 says, let's be real here for a second. If an immortal zombie horde with giant zombies, bears, horse, and a dragon is on the way, you know damn well they won't let them get close within 100 miles. That be the easiest nuclear strike approval you'd ever see in your life. Then you'd see the multiple suns illuminate the night sky, for the night is no longer dark and no more terrors. Nice, throws in the little Game of Thrones quote there. Yeah, so again, a fair take. If we're up against the armies of the undead, we certainly don't have the diplomatic concerns associated with some of these other battles that we're covering. We certainly don't have the rules of engagement concerns. And if you practically could use whatever destructive means you had as a nation state to wipe them out, up to and including nukes, then yeah, send it. And then presumably after the nuke goes off, all you're going to have is the Night King and the White Walkers standing there in the crater. Well, I guess it's probably an airburst. Standing there in the scorched landscape, just like aura maxing, staring up at the UAV. So yeah, of course, you probably could do this. And yeah, that would be something that I would imagine a government probably would do. If you're the government of the South, the government of Westeros, and you've united against this threat from the North and their ice zombies, and you are a modern, technologically equipped and funded military force, yeah, you probably would nuke them. Why not? Probably doesn't make for a good video though, which is going to be my ongoing repeated comment for a lot of these slides here. Yeah? The next one is the Hellfire R9X. Scramalam, or Scramalam, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. Hellfire R9X ninja missile with Valerian steel blades, precision strike on the Night King. Frag grenades and claymore mines loaded with obsidian shards. Yeah, I discussed the explosives bit and why I went the way I did on them. Frankie M says, one gnarly cheat code to insta-win the Battle of Winterfell is one MQ9 Reaper with the Ninja Hellfire but with Valerian steel blades mounted. Granted, I'm not very familiar with how blizzards affect these munitions and the laser designators, or how large the storm is and if the Reaper can loiter outside to avoid being affected, blah, 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 blah. Another sound idea. This came up in the planning, actually. I can't remember who it was, but this was months ago now in one of the live streams. One of the dudes pointed this out. Would we not just like use the Valerian steel? Because it was around that time we were tinkering with, what do we need to kill these mofos? So it has to be dragonglass or Valerian steel. What can we do with this material? And someone suggested it back then, and I was like, yeah, that's a skits idea. In terms of how you'd apply it here, it would probably be a matter of you do this well before the battle even took place, probably while he's still faffing about up north of the wall, before he's even breached the wall. Assuming we can fly our MQ9 Reaper over the ice wall. If not, it's simply a matter of as soon as the undead army gets south of the wall and they're within our, I'm not sure how you describe it, uncontested, unmagical affected airspace, then yeah, we would drone him then with our R9X Hellfire and chop him into 4 even pieces with Valerian Steel drone missile. Some assumptions there. Is he not going to magic super speed, super dodge, super reflex, avoid the missile? Can he do that? Maybe he's fast enough to whip around on the spot and catch a shrieking, jumping Arya Stark trained assassin whipping through the air. Is a Hellfire faster than Arya Stark? Yeah, probably. So maybe, maybe not. Who's to say? But yeah, again, this is probably the more grounded, I suppose, tactical option, short of like the previous dude saying just nuke them, that you would use to just simply undo the undead army instantly with one of these things. Which the uninitiated looks like this. I've chucked it up on the screen here. You should be looking at the Ninja Hellfire R9. I stole this from Google Images. I'm not sure whose image this is. Attribution goes to them. Credit to them. And my little shitty additions to the sketch, obviously. So it's this giant Hellfire missile. And instead of having a payload of explosives, it has these horrifying blades which pop out of it. And they use this to very discriminately target a single, well, high value target when you don't want to blow up a whole house or a whole car, or you want to minimize collateral damage. And so you just, chop one person to pieces with a missile instead of blowing up a whole apartment building. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna read some chat here real quick. Up. Oh, what jumps out at me? Oh my god. I guess we're a lot of new people with this one. Yeah, I think so. Troy says Philippine Scout Rangers versus Dark Elves. When? What's a Dark Elf? I legit thought the modern forces might lose that one for a bit. I've been addicted to the PowerPoint student in my high school US Army course for pre-college on defense and strategic studies. It says B-Man 2R2U. Nice. It sounds like a droid. Could every in the military in the world be paralyzed by taking down PowerPoint? Says Adam Armstrong 4489. Most certainly. 500 video suggestions, -1 accepted suggestions. Yeah, true. Patrolling them, yep. Fallout, New Vegas quotes. Thank you, Dominic Demuro 462. Up. To be honest, I've been watching for a while, but first time I managed to catch a stream. Welcome, Bayross 3562. OMG. Up. Between this and Perinon Blessed, PowerPoint Army. What else have I got? Ari, hey man, how you doing? Your center of gravity is PowerPoint. Yeah, bloody certainly is. I'll get into that as well. CSRC, why did my parents leave me? What did you do to make them leave you? Would be my question. Were you a well-behaved child? Did you misbehave? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have the faculties to answer these difficult questions. Maintenance engineers, after finding out they need to take care of 15 to 80-year-old Churchill crocodiles in a frozen winter. Yeah, that's this is like the Battle of Yonkers, the worst battle in any book of an author that doesn't know fucking shit, says Unknown Marshall. Detecting a bit of hostility from Mr. Marshall over here. Yeah, well, it's Max Brooks, right? Like he's a comedy guy. He's a funny man. I don't think he's a military man. Saint says, why didn't you use more wire? I'm not sure if sarcasm or genuine, but hey, Saint, thanks for being here. I think if you measured up the like linear distance of wire used, it would be pretty immense. If anything, I was worried there'd be the opposite critique, but no, sorry, I get it now. It's a throwback jest. I've got you, Saint. Up. PowerPoint is a materialization. Unified plan for a unit is a cog center of gravity on some level. There's no dark, we are the terror. Fuck, you boys are spitting fire in the chat. Max Brooks, yep, that's what I was talking about. Max Brooks, right? He wrote, I have read World War Z, and it is much better than the movie. But still, yeah, kind of goofy. Jakub Vakala, Estonian SF Assaulting Control Station Enclave, Lithuanian Infantry. Okay, we're just doing list your wish list. Is that what we're doing here? The helicopters were just there to say hi. Yeah, I had to bloody get rid of them. I couldn't have them just sticking around killing everyone. The Night King could be stopped by, so yeah, I'll get to that. Do you think they could survive the power of the sun like Nuke's epicenter? Well, canonically, no, because they can survive Dragonfire, and Dragonfire is magic, which means it's hotter and burns brighter and, well, hotter again than anything we have. So, nah. Up. As I said on the warhead, I reckon an M30A1 alternate warhead GMLRS rocket would be better than the Hellfire. See, we looked into the GLMRSs, but I couldn't find anything, to my knowledge, I might be wrong, that comes out of the HIMARS that is incendiary related, which was kind of what I was sticking for here, obviously. Those M30A1, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like fragmentation, right? Like, I think it's tungsten fragmentation. I suppose if you're saying I could have made a Valerian steel fragmentation, potentially. Up. It's mission critical that we fire the R9X from a Reaper Predator, not any other more resilient crude platform. Yeah. What was that one? I thought I had a top laugh comment, but it disappeared. How can we minimize collateral damage? Hear me out, swords on missiles. Yeah, that's probably how the conversation went when they made it. I have a suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to do suggestions at the end, boys. So if you want to hang around, let's get the suggestions in one concise spot, which is at the end. Like, I have a spot at the end of these live streams for give me ideas, ask questions, make suggestions. Because, you know, we're focusing on the previous video now, right? Otherwise, like, I'll start yapping about these suggestions as well. We'll never get anywhere. Quick question, is that missile heat seeking? How does it target? Because it's laser beam riding guided. So it would plausibly, from what I looked into it, work against the thing. Didn't the US military use those drones kill a terrorist leader? Yes, I believe there was a first one they got with it was one of the Iranian proxy dudes in Iraq or something. I don't quite remember. Up. Oh man, this chat is so quick, I can't even catch up. Okay, when are you going to be answering tactics chat questions? Throw them in when I'm answering the slides about the tactical stuff like we're doing now. I'm just saying if you got suggestion questions like, hey, I don't know, the Bangladeshi Special Forces versus the Battle of Scarif, then that stuff, like, save it till the end. If that makes sense. I think a less technologically advanced modern military being used in the next video would be neat. Like what that guy said earlier about the Philippine Scout Ranger's Blessed One of Light. Have I kind of done that? No, I have. Yeah, I kind of did that with the Predator video. I used a 1980s Green Beret team in the Predator video, which was offensive as well, as was the Fallout video. So some of the dudes, and I see quite a few comments, was like, you should do one where the modern unit attacks. Yeah, I've done that in previous videos. Will LeBron James have a guest appearance? What the fuck, cunt? You guys are going nuts. Why the tanks weren't sent back into battle? Because I Winchestered all their fuel. And the reserves are reserves, so I wanted to keep them as a reserves. Suggestions at the end, people who make think, yeah, don't lose our mind. The M30A1 is preformed tungsten. I was suggesting that's an alternative to the R9X, and it could range out to hit the army before they got to Winterfell. Obsidian. I don't disagree with you. That would be effective. It wasn't in line with my principles for this one, which is I wanted to try and keep the magical material to a minimum and aligned with how it was its abundance in the show. So in the show there was barely any. Oh, you're saying obsidian. You think that would work as fragmentation? Again, my concerns with the very fragile obsidian exploding. Maybe, yeah. The sword Hellfire incident was an Al Qaeda figure. It predates Epic Fury by a few years. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't talking about Epic Fury. I was talking about there was a dude who was killed outside Baghdad airport like 5 years ago. I can't remember who that was. Marty McFeel. So welcome back, my man. Thought the video was effing mint, lad. Loved it. Thank you. How will this affect the trout population? What the fuck? What does that mean? You didn't answer my question. Will LeBron have an appearance? What are you cunnies on about? I'm moving on. This is fucking wild. This is one of the most bizarro chats I've come up against. Here's some of your questions. Y'all chaps were asking about this. Drons. Erotic fungus. I've got to start reading these names first. All of this could have been sorted with an FPV drone with a Valerian steel EFP call sign ARIA. Martin Daniel-M8G says, consider FPV drone with a dragon glass spike taped to it. Crying laugh emoji. Excuse me while I'm sipping on my drink. Nikolai MIA says, where are mines? What? Why zone to... Okay. Sorry, Nicole, I'm not laughing at you, mate. Obviously not a native English speaker. Why zone Targaryen isn't filled to the brim with mines. Also, real modern army would just FP... Yeah, that's the part I wanted to get relevant for this slide. Real modern army or just FPV, all white walkers 2 bits. Why does the syntax on this make me feel it's like a, again, I don't want to get racist cancelled, like a, I read this as in like Chinese accent or like Chinese syntax, but that wouldn't make sense. Nikolai sounds, let's take the stab as probably, I would guess. Real modern army. So you got someone here, probably, I'm going to guess Nikolai's maybe from the Ukraine or those parts, with a subtle dig there about the real modern army line in the FPVs. Yeah, so FPV drone, again, probably another good targeting option. I would suggest it's like a layer in from the aforementioned this drone equipped, strategic drone equipped Hellfire R9X. Failing this, or if for whatever reason we didn't want to use this, or if they were closer in, or the drones, you know, but if we're saying this drone can't get in for whatever reason, then is the FPE going to be any better? Is the FPV quicker than this missile? Maybe. I know some of these things absolutely piss around the battlefield at Mach 1 squillion. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's just not poo-pooing this. Again, it's just one of those things. I domed the Night King beyond the wall with an FPV drone, and there's no video. I've got another slide coming up that kind of speaks to this as well. But like I said, keep in mind, just these first 5 or so slides, they're all pretty much just variations of this, and I'm going to have a variation of the same answer. As in, they're good ideas, they're fine ideas, they're things that would, I agree, would plausibly work. Do they make for the Battle of Winterfell as it happened on the screen and what I'm trying to do here with my silly little internet videos? No, not necessarily. The next one, and some of you in the chat were just asking about this now as well. Jacob Katan says, I think that the final battle could have been fought without losses if you had one dragon glass tipped star streak left. They are laser guided, so I think it's plausible they could be used against ground targets, much like anti-tank missiles are sometimes used against low-flying aircraft. Personal accountant 6443 says, you know, I think a better way to murk the Night King would be to use all the remaining star streaks as snipers, because they are sack loss, to just obliterate him with the infantry acting as an anvil to fix him and keep him distracted. Hell, the guy stands still many times. He could have just been mulched then and at further ranges too. Again, another fine idea. I don't object to this. This was actually in one of my first drafts of how this thing was ending. This was what came to mind as well. It just kind of flowed in with what I'd written earlier in the script, which was that I was only really making one Valyrian steel weapon, which was the what do you call it? The Star Streak. So it would just flow even just in a narrative sense, a storytelling sense, that's the thing that I used to kill the Night King as well. I ended up deleting that part of the script and going with what you ended up seeing, which was the, I suppose, more melodramatic bayonet charge. But yeah, I think this is a fine idea. I think it's plausible. I think it would take a few because I don't think they're that accurate. I was looking for it before I hit play on this. I couldn't for the life of me find it. There was a video somewhere on YouTube of the British, the squaddies. They were doing like a live fire range, and they were training to use Star Streaks on as an anti-armor weapon, I suppose you'd call it. As in, they weren't shooting an aerial target. They were shooting just like a BMP mock-up or something like this. And this thing, apparently, the Star Streak does have like limited armor penetrating capabilities on ground vehicles. So it's got some degree of accuracy. I'm sure they can hit tanks and vehicles and all that sort of thing with it. Hitting a single dude like standing in a field, probably at the distances he's at by the end of the video, probably doable. But again, I'd be totally speculating because it's not something, yes, you can find like max effective range and ceiling range and all and acceleration and all this stuff for the Star Streak, but I very much doubt you're going to get like a bit of publicly available open source info on effective range for hitting a single man-sized target. That's going to be something that if there are any British squaddies in the chat or watching this video in the future, flick me a DM or leave a comment if it's not secret source. Yeah, do you think a Star Streak could hit a man-sized, ice demon-sized target at, say, let's go bold, 200 meters? I don't know. Certainly, I was going to have that as the video ending before deciding against it. So yeah, I think it's a fine idea. Let me read chat here real quick. Oh, I scrolled wrong. Okay, there we go. Oh my, you boys are going nuts tonight. I can't even keep up. Okay, I found Marty's comment, which means I've read it. LeBron, again. What adversary would match up nicely against modern Ukrainian drone specialists? Well, I had a thought for the Ukrainians, which was when I did the Matrix video, the Battle of Zion, and not specifically because of the drone knowledge, but more so their anti-air knowledge. I thought the anti-air stuff of the Ukrainians, as in all the self-propelled anti-aircraft guns and all this sort of kit they've got, and the amount of anti-aircraft, or their experience they have, I thought they'd be a good match or pairing for the Battle of Zion, shooting down the squids. That was kind of my thought for the Ukrainians. Up. Someone said this in the video's comment section, but I've never been so emotionally invested in a yellow dot before that battle sim, says Blessed One Light. Yeah, no, cheers. That's high praise, the dudes who said that. Up. Why not to give Mel Squad obsidian spears instead of rifles, longer range? Potentially could. If I've been given the choice, I'm still taking the rifle, because we can still do a bit of damage to the whites with the guns, right? So I want this psychological comfort of knowing that I've got 30 rounds up the spout, and maybe I can start kneecapping them as they're charging at me. So yeah, we can't kill them with bullets, weirdly, but you know, swords can chop them into pieces, so bullets can chop them into pieces. Qasem Soleimani, that's the one. Bizarre, you say. Don't give... Oh, what is this? Will LeBron make an appearance? Don't give up, he never answered the question. I don't know what you mean! Fuck yeah. In a video or what? He's a basketball dude, right? I don't get it, man. Penal battalion consisting of London roadmen armed with dragonglass shivs and machetes. LeBron is in the video. He dunked on the zombies and what? The Royal British Army is known for carrying 10,000 FPVs, drones in the back of every soldier. What if we use LeBron James? Fuck off. What is this? What if we use LeBron James to throw a basketball that's secretly covered in small needles made of Lyrian steel to the Night King? Who would reject a ball from LeBron? What the fuck are you carnies on about? Robert Schmuder, have I read yours? What if you took all of Lyrian steel and made a big sword and gave it to your coolest, most badass Chad soldier? That's bloody Sean Stark, mate. LeBron, what? Incendiary basketballs? Fuck this. I'm fucking... Who started this shit? LeBron. Was this... was this you? Freakiest of history? This was your fucking doing, wasn't it? Tell you what. Count your fucking days, my man. Your timeout button is looking red hot. Cun. If you need to pierce armor, just use 5.7. That round can go through tanks like butter. People overstate the usage of drones. Most quadcopters can't fly in that sort of inclement weather. Yeah, well, that's one of the other things with the drones. The blizzard largely negates a lot of that. So most of this drone stuff would have to be before the battle kicks off, at which point we're no longer doing the Battle of Winterfell. We're doing how to kill the Night King in Westeros. That's what the video becomes. CSR just being so confused about the LeBron James comment. Is this a meme from somewhere else? Is this an internet thing? I'd spend a lot of time online, obviously, in my role as a video YouTube man, editing person dude. But I'm not aware of this meme. This LeBron James fucking thing. What if you just politely told the Night King to go away? Might work. Gurkhas, sending the Gurkhas. Well, yeah, Gurkhas, I went with the Yorkshiremen for the reasons said. I joined and the first thing I hear is the man swearing. Sorry, I'm getting bloody riled. People are talking about basketball. Bro, you're making his Australian come out and trying to follow a cool military. Yeah, I'm trying to be professional, and everyone's just yapping nonsense. I don't understand. We focus here. What are we talking about, boys? We're doing a bloody debrief on the Battle of Winterfell, and you're talking about basketball. What's happening? I don't know the meme, so I don't feel like I'm in on the joke, which makes me frustrated. It makes me miffed. You know what I mean? If I knew the meme, then I'd be like, haha, I'd probably be chuckling as well, clutching my sides. Someone clearly got dunked on by LeBron and he's mad. I didn't get dunked on by LeBron. I barely know who that is. I'm moving on. Fuck your beady little eyes, Dr. Lamb Lamb. Traces. Another thing, similar answer. Arrows the Gumsmith says, excuse me while I'm sipping. I've seen tracer rounds set paper targets on fire and start brush fires. If I were in the task force, I'd try at least once to see if that counts as fire. Some random guy, 6156, depending on how low their ignition point is, I think that an M2 running nothing but tracers would run some serious numbers. Hallish, JL5MO says, I don't think that fire killed them like magic. They were just very flammable And it didn't really matter if the ash was hostile intent, it's just ash. So the first ones here pretty much are saying like, hey, what about tracer ammo? And my thing with tracers, I think it's a maybe. I think tracers might work. I don't think they're that guaranteed as these raw, hardcore incendiary weapons that, well, I ultimately opted to go for. If you linked up like every round in a magazine and every, well, linked bit of ammo in a machine gun belt with tracer, yes, obviously more effective than 4-bit. But then, like Halish says here, and why I put this comment in, is that I'm not entirely sure either if they're dying to fire or bursting into flames because of magic, or just they are rotting, decaying corpses covered in rotting, decaying, highly flammable rags, bones, and clothing. And if that's the latter, then I think there's a chance tracers wouldn't be that effective. Like a tracer zipping through one, I don't think is like a guaranteed set them ablaze kind of thing. You get what I mean? Not a bad idea though. You know, if you had the ability to just yep, everyone gets a tracer round, of course, let's throw it at them as well. One of the reasons I didn't implement this, along with some of the other ones in the coming slides, is I just intentionally wanted to avoid doing lots of machine gun stuff and gun stuff for this video. I wanted to make it a bit more challenging in that sense, in the planning sense. And then also, to be frank, not just repeat the same video that I've made now almost 4 times and layer in a bunch of heavy machine guns, automatic grenade launchers, medium machine guns, light machine guns, rifles, and then it's the same thing I've done, which, you know, the reality of this thing as well is I've got to bloody keep being creative. You can't just do the same thing over and over and over again. Not only for the logistics of it's going to make a bad YouTube video, but also that it's going to get boring for me. And I don't want to get bored or get sick of making these. Hence why I want them to start being, or start, but continue being like interesting and creative to me. Because the bloody way I look at it, if that's the case, then that's going to be true for the dudes watching it too. Get what I mean? Chat. Oh, fuck, I scrolled down on the wrong thing. Where's chat? The UN method, as I call it, the drons sound likely. What? Yeah, might as well send emus to the battle. Classic. What's stopping the Night King from circling Winterfell and attacking the other side? Are you referring to his army or the dragon? If it's the dragon, not much aside from the anti-air threat. The army, the terrain, which is primarily why they're channeled into that open field to the north of Winterfell. And again, I'd put it to you that what was stopping him from doing that in the original show? Upon learning that they have all their forces positioned to the north, he could have simply executed the same flanking maneuver in the show. But he didn't, because I don't think he's that great a tactical commander. Not because he's inept or not intelligent or not smart, just simply because he doesn't even think about combat and battle and warfare the same way we do. When you wield a telepathic army of totally expendable zombies, I don't think you'd process the options for like tactically adapting on the battlefield the same way as one of us would. It's just he'd be thinking about it in a way we can't even imagine. So yeah, again, I'd put it back to you. What stopped him from doing that in the show and attacking the side where they had no forces, no defensive positioned? He didn't do it. The analysis reason is it's because of the terrain. So when you look at the terrain analysis, there's that Wolfswood Forest to the west, and then there's that river to the east, and the town as well, which in itself kind of an obstacle, as in moving a mass horde through. There's also a slight little forest section on the south side of Winterfell. I can't remember which map I put it in, but you can see it in one of the aerial screenshots, and I think I put it in the macro battle map, so there's another sort of natural obstacle there as well. Called out Prime LeBron and what can we start? That would be a Space Jam. Stop detouring the topic, chat. Maybe linking all firearms or traces. Did White have healing? I don't think they had healing. I just don't think they could die. You know what I mean? Traces aren't incendiaries. Yeah, I don't think I said they were. I'm not sure if that's directed at me. Yeah, I'm not convinced traces would be a 100% solution like the way incendiaries would. Would have loved if one of the POMs had an officer saber. Yeah, I watched enough Sharp that I could have probably worked it in. But no, I did not. Why the Hellfires and not 2.5-inch rocket pods? Thermo Barracks, bruv. not sure there are rockets thermobarics. If there are, yeah, I certainly could have done them. I just know that there are, or knew with a limited bit of research that there are such things as thermobaric hellfires. He said while sipping on a drink. Any chance we see a larger scale scenario talking division scale? Yeah, that'll be Battle of Gondor when I get around to it. Hearing some dings for LeBron, here we go. Anyways, the explanation of the LeBron joke, someone here explaining it to me, is that everything could affect LeBron's legacy, so we need to know because he's the GOAT. Right. So is he going to be in a battle? How does that impact his legacy? If he's in a YouTube battle? Would it be possible to create a scenario where the modern military wipes the floor with the enemy like in Mythbusters when they put all the explosives into really blow stuff up? I was thinking of doing that, exactly that, with... I want to redo... What's the battle of the Gungans versus the droids versus the cis droids? That's a confederacy of independent systems, not like cisgender. What's that place? Naboo. The Battle of Naboo in the open field. I was thinking about doing that, just like massacring, annihilating the Gungans with, I don't know, what's like some enormous American cavalry division? Something like this. That was kind of my thought with what you just said there. Kind of like almost a subvert expectations video, as in go into it all like, tactical analysis, and then the battle sim, the animation is just like a bloodbath from where to go. And it's just sound effects of Jar Jar Binks screaming in the background and all the Gungans shrieking hysterically. Nothing but that for 2 minutes. It'd be really quick. Up. The Siege of I can't say that. Shigena, I can't pronounce that. I don't know what AOT is either. The humour, much like considering the trout population. All right. This trout population too. Hello, lads. Hey, Kuba. Welcome, man. First Cavalry Division. Yeah, let's get them in. Okay, next slide. Same thing, boys. HE/HEDP/Incendiary/Ralphos/Mark262. I don't know. Name it. Tarendel8217 says, point of order. Tracer rounds and incendiary rounds for machine guns do exist, and even tracers can burn up to 1400 degrees Celsius. Yep, they sure can. Surely with prep time, they can manually link their own ammo to tracer. Yeah, tracer, incendiary. Cover the medium range gap that you mentioned. Sure would. PTH Rust or P Thrust. Oh God, I don't know which one of that is. Apologies if I'm butchering your namesake. 5.56 and 7.62 has incendiary varieties. Yeah, they certainly do. Less common in 5.56 for sure. But yeah, again, same reason. They might work. Actually, no, incendiary certainly would, especially for the larger rounds. It was more a matter of just stylistic choice, to be frank. There was that too, and I remember a long time ago when this video was first broached, I think I made a post about it over a year ago now. A few of the comments, the top comments, like some of the most liked ones, it was like, man, try do it. Because I remember the immediate thought was, do I just make like obsidian steel? Within 5 seconds of thinking about this, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. I'm just going to make Valerian steel bullets and obsidian, what do you call it? Dragon glass bombs, mines, rockets, etc. And like the comments back then, this was over a year ago, was like, nah, keep it like fire. Try and stick more to like the lore of the film. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Fair and bloody enough, boys. I'm going to do that. And so that's what I did. Hence why a lot of these things on screen aren't getting, or didn't get the airtime that people are saying. Would they work? I think they probably would. These incendiaries and HE rounds in particular. The tracers, maybe. I won't die on the hill arguing it. I think tracers are less guaranteed than stuff like incendiary 50 cal, for example, which is certainly going to bloody clap white undead cheeks. Similar deal with snipers here. Plain 15 man says, surprised there were no snipers here. I just said that. Given the scarcity of Valerian steel, one could argue snipers be supplied with VS rounds for use on high value targets such as the Giants and the Night King from longer range, as opposed to a late battle infantry charge, which was costly for the defenders. JB76489 says, I would think giving snipers some Valerian steel core 338 rounds would be a quick fix for the Night King. Certainly would. I would agree. It would work if you could make, which you could. You just have the same standard bullet and replace the tungsten penetrator that you find in a lot of 50 cal rounds and some 338. I think it's still more commonly steel penetrators than 338. I'm sure there are some with tungsten. Replace that with Valerian steel, and I think that'd get inside and do him, right? Like the copper jacket's going to peel away, and the Valerian steel is presumably going to go inside. But how does terminal ballistics, as in wounding ballistics, work on an ice demon that can't be harmed by conventional weapons? This is one of those things you start talking about it for more than 5 seconds, and it gets very convoluted because you're hitting him with a copper jacketed bullet, right? Is the copper counters, is that just going to bounce off him? Does it zip through him and doesn't expose the Valerian steel core? I don't know. So it's a problem with all this stuff. I've got a few other slides to speak to this as well. Up. Should have reused the Xerxes bit, but with a sniper with a Valerian bullet, keep it going as an ongoing bit. I could have. I thought about it. I didn't want to do any animations for this one. A few reasons. One, those animations for Thermopylae took me way too long. And I'm not sure the juice was worth the squeeze in the end. I had fun doing them. I think they're funny and dumb. But the time I spent like doing those animations for the Thermopylae one, I'm just not sure they super value added to the video in the grand scheme of things. So I was sort of on the fence about them. Didn't think I wanted to do them. Okay, let me just go off comments here. Hello, who have read it? Already Attack on Titan. AOT Attack on Titan. I've not seen it. I just know it's anime. Do it. How long could a modern force Helldivers with the help of LeBron? Oh, right. For the strategy, would it have been better to sound a team with armored vehicles to thin out the undead? The undead are quite slow. So a slow retreat would cut down a number with risk. Yes, certainly would be. You're describing sort of defense in depth, getting troops forwards to attrit them at distance. The main problem with that, too, there's a YouTube problem, and then there's the more practical, tactical problem. The tanks we were using, those challenges, the big fuel tank sort of limits their ability to, I would suppose, fire and maneuver, particularly do like a break contact or a fighting withdrawal. So these flame tanks were designed for burning down the hedgerows and bocage of France in like 1942, right? So I don't think they'd be that great at doing like a pepper pot style, like covering, moving, bounding, moving, fighting withdrawal, mowing down the whites. And obviously you wouldn't want to get too close to them because you just wouldn't want to get swarmed and have them just be coating your tank and reaching their little beady undead bone fingers into your periscope hatch and trying to rip open your hatches and all this. So yeah, the other reason is the map would be much bigger for that, as in I have the tanks heaps far forward. I suppose I could have used it on the macro, like zoomed out map, but at that sort of scale, it just doesn't look very nice. I did that for Hoth, and I don't like visually how it looks. So that's why. Then just a gif over, sorry, how those animations were hella hilarious, like a wild wolf. Yeah, I'm glad you dug them. I don't know. I might go with it. We need more realism. Those complaining aren't going to tolerate modern beating fantasy. What do you mean? Those complaining aren't going to tolerate. I don't think they're going to tolerate it regardless of if I use realistic grounded methods or if I use their own magic against them. I think in this one I can get away with it because there's not a die-hard White Walker fan club community that's I don't know, spurging out in the comment section that I killed their favorite fictional army. But yeah, I think no matter what methods I use, I think those people that would be displeased no matter what would still be displeased. Will CSRC's community make LeBron James fucking give it a rest? Would ya? LeBronian still. Yeah, original Welsh. I said original Welshman. Original Wasteman. Yeah, okay. Starlinium versus Lebronium. The Zaps. Fucking Jesus. Just a silly joke. I remember the video idea I had. But Gate, but X-Force. No Gate. Moving on. To answer your question, sort of getting ahead of my slide here, Techie1725 says, given that from what I remember, the Crocodile was unable to reverse with the fuel trailers attached, and their slow speed, it's a good thing that they are largely invulnerable. That slow turn would probably have a lot of them overtaken, but upside, plenty of crunchies for every other tank's primary weapon, the tracks. Yeah, so this is one of the things, these tanks are not great for, say, a defensive withdrawal play, because they can't shoot going backwards, because you're trying to reverse a giant trailer, and they're not that. There was another controversial comment. I didn't put it in here. It wasn't a criticism on me or the video. It was like a slagging out the tanks thing. So apparently these Churchills are notoriously slow. But from what I looked into it, they allegedly had quite good winter mobility, as in their performance in mud, snow, slush, this kind of nasty off-road stuff was pretty good compared to other tanks of its generation. So I don't know if this Crocodile's got like an unfairly negative reputation. I don't know if it was just slower than other tanks of its era. Any War Thunder dudes in the chat will probably be able to add to that. But yeah, it seems to be it's getting the Crocodile gets a bit of hate for its slow speed. But I remember looking into this because one of my thoughts was, how's this thing going to go in the snow? Is this thing even going to be able to wheel and deal in deep, heavy snow or in mud? Noting it's an old tank. And yeah, I can't remember where I read it, but turns out it goes all right. So because of those two reasons, I pretty much just turned the Crocodiles into static flamethrower pillboxes, right? So they sat there for a bit, dumped their load of flamer fuel, and then withdraw to take up flank and rear security and reserve, which they still have their, 76mm gun and coaxial machine guns where they can do a bit of chopping up and mowing down the whites. So that was kind of my thoughts there with the tanks and why I didn't have them pissing around out front of the battlefield doing like a deep defense, like outside the main engagement area. Okay, next. Similarly, vehicle related, why not run them over? Ryan Payne 7707 says, stupid question, couldn't the tanks have just run over the undead? Likewise, why wasn't the bulldozer involved in the final engagement? I imagine it could have at the very least have pinned the Night King to the ground or against an obstacle. XCW 4934 says, you had a sapper with a tractor and you didn't affix dragon glass spikes to the front and go out to run over the whites. I suppose there's always a chance the White King could just launch a spear clean through the cab with a try. So, two things to discuss here. Firstly, the tractor was a lastminute.com idea. I did not have that even written into the script when I recorded it. And then as I was animating that scene where the squaddies come running out of the gate, I had a flashback to the Thermopylae video where I got absolutely pizzled by many comments talking about how the horses and Humvees and people, etc., wouldn't be able to move over all the piles of undead bodies. So I was like, okay, fair point. Let's fix it up for this one. I've got a tractor, and so I just added that little tractor icon in, and pretty much on the cuff, like, now I'm using the tractor. Like I mentioned them before, so it was it wasn't a full, Deus Ex Machina. It was a bit Chekhov's tractor, but still, I hadn't really briefed that, but I felt it was a fair sort of implied and fair use task of the tractor. But secondly to that, as I was then using that, I had the exact same thought this commenter did, Ryan Payne, which was like, why don't I just like try and run these dogs over with this tractor? What would happen? And then I didn't for two reasons. One, because like some of the other weapons here, once you start thinking about it, it turns a bit weird. And secondly, I'd already sort of committed at that point to the narrative and the finishing idea of the bayonet charge, which was Sean Stark and Sean Bean coming in with a in, out, on guard, you bastards. Getting the old Chekhov's bastard, because I mentioned that earlier in the video. Someone said that in the chat on one of the streams before and almost fell out of my chair. Because I've been talking about bayonet charges and Sean Bean and Yorkshire accents for an hour at this point. And then the final scene is, well, of course. How else are we going to win this? He's been yapping about it nonstop. Anyway, I made a little diagram. Because when you think about it, like I said, what would happen if you ran over the Night King with a tractor or a tank? Because he's immortal, right? He can't be harmed by conventional weapons. A tractor's not even a weapon. Certainly a conventional weapon if we're saying it is. Does he like get smooshed into the ground? Or is he, as far as the tractor's concerned, like tungsten? As in the tractor just like bumps over him, the Night King doesn't deform. And if so, what happens to the physics behind the weight of the tractor and the ground underneath the Night King? Does he get smooshed into the dirt? Is he strong enough to just push up, do a laying chest press and bench the tractor off him? Or does he get crushed like a pancake? Is he more like Deadpool? Like his physical mass gets harmed, but he regenerates? Something like this, despite being made of presumably ice magic. So you see what I mean? Once you start like some of these scenarios, when you mix these modern systems with these magic or supernatural invincible users, there's no good answers. There's no good answers, right? What do you boys reckon? Let me see chat. Darius, for me, of course, when it comes to killing the big man himself versus bullets, R9X missiles, etc., probably more tactical, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, what we got, I found far more entertaining. Cheers, Dig. Appreciate you. Yeah, that was the other name of the game for this one. My favorite fucking, I'm going to read the name first. Freakiest of history. When I see your name, I'm not even going to bloody read the comment because I know it's going to be something about this fucking LeBron James character. Every time, every fucking time. My favorite fictional army has to be the Fire Nation army with the sole exception of the LeBron Armed Forces from LeBronistan. All right. All right. The trouble is I'm not passing the chat efficiently enough with my eyes, so I end up catching these dumb LeBron comments. Hagar Herger. That sounds like a Targaryen name. Night King versus Jinsu Hellfire with VS Bladed. Yeah, that's we talked about him. Your audience demographics are probably right for a video involving the Fire Nation, to be honest. What's the Fire Nation? Up, 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 up. LeBron come to Boston. With the tanks and such, you have to remember the whites have the power of total freezing. So let's say you do send an attack. If you let the whites get close, they'll be able to freeze them. That's another good point. Does he like one tap the tractor with a touch and ice it to bits immediately? A very fair point there, says Garrett, 8247. Imperial Japanese army replacing the Fire Nation in the siege of Ba Sing Se. I don't know what that is. Stonehenge defensive from Ace Combat. You basically fight Russia and France combined with a giant drone carrier and a sizable satellite grid for intel and distinct advantage used many times. Ace Combat. Not familiar with like the storyline of Ace Combat. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that. I see the word LeBron and kissing. Jolly good show, lad. Wholesome liberal. Thank you, good chap. Tanks get clogged up pretty quick if you tried. Can't be killed by mortal weapon. Sounds like a loophole in the making. What if we drop a big anvil on the Night King? Bugs Bunny would love to help me out. Get the Roadrunner in there. Paint a target on the wall. No, paint a tunnel on the wall. Have the Night King run full piss into it. Bonk his head. Little birds appear flying around him. Wait, surely the Churchills or the tractor surely completely decimated if they got run over because of the weight, as it will surely make them turn into ash or something. Again, I don't know. That comment from C. Xander D. Tau Can 8843. I don't know, mate. They're said to be invulnerable to everything except Dragonglass and Valerian Steel. That's per the show. So this is the debate, the conversation we're having. What happens when a tractor or a tank runs over the Night King and smushes him into the ground? Gotta love it when the enemy is so stupidly mortal you gotta use flamethrowers and melee real. Up, 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 up. How would human moddies get caught up in the track size like sand? What? It would be interesting to see a video how a realistic military force would win the Battle of Yonkers. In the book, they kind of forgot they were fighting more than 100 zombies, so everyone had like 3 mags. Yeah, Battles Yonkers is looking pretty appealing to me. I'm actually thinking about doing it next. You never watched the Avatar Last Airbender dog. One guy wouldn't affect the tracks 50 to 100 that's going to clog up the side. Are you assuming they wouldn't only attack the tank from the front? Well, for this tank part, I'm talking specifically about the final charge. So there's not really that many of them. So I'm not so much worried about the clogging up. It's more what happens when you hit an ice demon who's ostensibly immortal. Up, 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 up. Okay, I'm skipping some comments here. The right of the Rohirrim but attack helicopters replace the cavalry. Nah. I've got to have some bloody Bradleys and M1s and all that for that. There are so many loopholes in the 2 words of mortal weapon. If an immortal made it, what if there wasn't meant to be a weapon? So many loopholes, said Blessed One of Light. Ace Combat is basically an arcade flight game franchise set in an alternate Earth. Oh, really? With giant super weapons and mute aces. Overall, it's a fun universe. I didn't realize Ace Combat had like lore and a verse behind it. I thought it was just like, what do you call it? DCS or Microsoft Flight Simulator, one of these, but with a military angle. Or armor for the skies, like realistic. Up, 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 up. The real question is how they ever found out the Night King is invulnerable. I'd suppose it's from the generations of knowledge they got from the wildlings about how, much the same way Jon Snow learned that they can only be killed by Valerian Steel and, what do you call it? Obsidian. Dragonglass. Because who's his fat friend? Sam Tarly. He stabs one, right? He kills one. So he's got a bit of man on the ground intelligence. Up, 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 up. Lithuanian. Okay. What if we sat down and had tea? Okay. I'm guessing they've tried to drop a brick on his head at some point. Ace Combat is dope as fuck. PS2 ones. It has a deep lore like a whole bunch. Interesting. Did not know. So to me, the outcome would be him being pressed into the ground. Yeah, true. And then can he bench press it? Like, is he that strong? And if he's just pressed into the ground, is he stuck there? Can he like turn around and start eating sand to like dig his way out? I don't know. Do you have any plans for a video where a modern army is fighting a qualitatively superior foe? So far, basically all the videos are against hordes, and a change of pace would be nice. Well, they're against hordes because these are hordes generally lend themselves well to these Hollywood big spectacular battles, and big spectacular battles make good spectacular videos. So it's sort of chicken and the egg, right? I'm not particularly choosing horde battles. It's just I'm choosing big spectacular battles, and they kind of happen to, in a lot of cases, have hordes. To answer your question shortly, qualitatively superior foe. Yeah, look, eventually there's always requests for Warhammer, stuff like this, but every time the word Warhammer comes up, there's instantly dudes tearing each other's throats out in the comment section. So, man, I've seen the way you dudes treat each other in the comments about Warhammer 40k. If I get something wrong in that video, I will get my ass torn to pieces. So yeah, I dread Warhammer, but it's inevitable. Eventually, one day I'll do it. I suppose that fits your example. They're technologically superior to us in many ways. This has to be the Star Wars Battle of... I don't know who you're replying to. The problem with the Battle of the Yonkers, if portrayed in the book, is that the author pretty much has to handwave explosives as a thing and to handwave logistics. Yeah, I remember it was... The Yonkers thing is... Oh, they used fragmentation, which just exploded the zombies, and they kept crawling and coming. It's like... Again, I think thermobarics in the place of Yonkers instantly just demos them. What the fuck is that? Why can I hear noise in the background? Someone breaking in? Oh, it's television. Goodness gracious. Sam Tarley's actor's father is actually someone who worked on the Churchill tank. His name is... You fucking rat. His name is Lee Bronze. That got me fair and square. Fair bump, old bean. I didn't read the name. I just started yapping. And I'm like, I was halfway through because I'm so fucking gullible as well. I'll believe anything you cunts tell me. So when I start reading this, I'm already thinking, wow, that's really cool coincidence. If so, is that true? And then I see the last name, Lee Bronze, but like Leigh Bronze. Yep, LeBron, I get it. Nice one, Dr. Lamb. I can't even be mad at that. That's fucking sick. Absolutely smashed me. I've got to watch myself. Someone's going to hit me with one of these, but those variations where you say a full-on no-no word. Like, you know, a slur for pick your poison. So I've got to be more cautious, man. That was a good little reminder that, yeah, pump the brakes. Let's let's be a bit more diligent here, Mr. Coral. Yonkers is especially bad considering it was meant to be a propaganda piece. I try and make sure nothing went wrong. I see Krieg's picture with the F-22 or F-35. I can't quite tell, and I know it's going to be free of Lebrons. We win. I can finally go to bed. Okay, next slide, boys. I don't know about the tractor, long story short. Perfect intelligence. This one comes up every debrief, but, you know, I get new viewers every debrief as well, so I figure it bears repeating and speaking to again. Silhouette, spelt funny, says, the modern army have perfect knowledge of the enemy while the enemy know nothing. Excellent fight. I think that's sarcasm. I think Silhouette is having a little bit of a dig. Next one is Leon KS9YN. Major Gate vibes. Also would love to see a battle like this, but with at least the enemy commander having some pre-fight knowledge of the modern military he's about to face and react accordingly. It can't be done, boys. This whole... The enemy has no intelligence. The friendlies have all the intelligence. Why don't you give the enemy intelligence as well? It doesn't work like that. And I've made a diagram that hopefully explains why. Check this out. Step 1. I put the modern troops in the video. They replace the Rohirrim at Helm's Deep. They replace the rebels at Hoth. They replace the men and king of the North in the Battle of Winterfell in Westeros. They make a plan. They adapt to the circumstances. They adapt to the battle as they know it's happened. For them, it's like a debrief. It's like a AAR rerun. That's what's happening here. The Night King now, let's say I tell him, okay, there's modern defenders now. It's no longer... I'll use Helm's Deep because it's an easier example because I've done it before explaining Helm's Deep. Let's say to Isengard and Saruman, it's no longer the Rohirrim, it's these weird futuristic warriors. They have fire guns that can drop people from 2 kilometers away. He's going to say, okay, well, I'm probably not going to charge up the guts with my Uruk-hai army. Let's adapt to that and do something different. He's going to do something different to which the defenders adapt to. And let's say this is me writing this, right? So I write this. I write, Saruman decides that he's not going to attack up the middle. He's going to do X, Y, Z. That happens in the animation. Then the defenders say, oh, Saruman did X, Y, Z. We're going to do A, B, C, because the defenders get to adapt to the adaptation, right? Because that's what you want. You want perfect intelligence. You want real-time adaptation to the changing circumstances at the battlefield, at the tactical level. So that's what we're doing. The Night King adapts, defenders adapt, so on, infinite loop. Problem number one. Problem number two, going on to that thought experiment, the Night King adapts, or Saruman adapts, going back to the Helm's Deep example. One of three things happen here. The battle doesn't happen at all. The battle changes and adapts over and over and over as through that cycle you can see of iterations, that it's no longer the battle. It strays so far from what you originally saw on the silver screen that it's just not it anymore. Or thirdly, the battle happens because now I've given them adaptation and they've got perfect intelligence. Why don't they both have perfect intelligence? And the defenders lose. And as a result of those three things, here's what happens on the right there. The video is either exceptionally boring because I say the Night King sees they have thermobaric weapons and helicopters and decides not to attack. And he goes north of the wall to come up with another plan. No video. The second problem, we're not doing the Battle of Winterfell anymore. It's not the Battle of Winterfell, right? It's adapted and evolved so much that it's now the RX-9 strike of the Night King up near, what's that place? Hardhome. What's the Umbers fortress in Westeros? I think it's Hardhome, right? Whatever the Umbers, the furthest northern house fortress or castle is. That's what happens. Again, not the Battle of Winterfell. Or if I adapt to the point where in my battle, wargaming myself, the defenders lose, then my plan sucks. And just as a refresher, the plan is 90% of the video. The military decision-making process, the loose sort of MAP that I'm following, very chopped and changed, very adapted for my needs as YouTube video editor man, then that has failed. You get what I mean? And that's really what the meat and potatoes of these videos are. I get it's kind of evolved now that I've got the animations and I'm having fun animating stuff, don't get me wrong. So I've got to kind of balance these things. All those things being said, that ends up being video equals bad. Does that fucking make sense, boys? I hope that sums up why the whole adaptation, why did they not get intelligence as well? It cannot be done. Does that make sense? Let me read chat real quick. Message retracted. Oh, did you say something naughty? I didn't retract anyone's question, but YouTube sometimes does that. Solution, delay the video audio and have a giant red button that does the following. Is this another LeBron thing? Well, was these little non-credible? Cut audio and sounds a very loud siren. Can you type in one paragraph, Swap Boy? I'm bloody losing your string here. Wait, what if we have a bridge too far instead of World War II British was modern British paratroopers? I'm trying to avoid real things. Bridge too far movie, right? You know what? I don't think I've ever seen the movie, but it is based on the real World War II raid on is it the Arnhem Bridge? It's a real thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chat? Someone? Yes? I'm just not doing real events yet. Maybe someday. Mulan. Original Mulan movie with the PLA versus the Huns in extended campaign. Interesting, because I do want to do a PLA video one day. I'm going to do The Wall. The Matt Damon and what's Mustache Man's name from Game of Thrones? He's one of the Dornish. He's the dude who gets his head crushed in. I can't remember the actor's name. Pedro Pascal and Matt Damon. Campy Netflix special movie. Super kind of fun and dumb. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one actually. So I'm going to do modern Chinese military against those dumb mutant ancient dog things in The Wall. We need another idea, something Disney or Pixar. Are you saying the Night King knew about napalm and artillery had probably not engaged? Yeah, probably. No attack, whatever. If they attacked, they believed they had no chance to win. If they knew about the defenders, they would just leave. Does the British even previously use napalm? I'm not entirely sure, but even without napalm, there are quite a few comments speaking to napalm as well, but even without napalm, I still think there's enough incendiary stuff that can be effective. Up. Oh, sorry, I lost where I was up to. You could give them a vague knowledge of what's going... No, I'm not reading that. It's going to be LeBron in there somewhere. Something that could justifiably Limited adaptabilities, lack of communications equipment. Example, Napoleonic armies fought in lines because they couldn't be commanded from that far away easily. They don't need perfect infill, but a tiny little itty bit would be cool. Explain to me, who is this? I cannot read your name. Give me an example here for right to repair and ownership, how a little itty bit of intel doesn't result in this spiral that I'm showing you on the screen. Because I would argue that I give them itty bitty, choose your words, a little itty bit of intel, as in I show them adapting to the circumstances of the battle in this one and in the Thermopylae one. So, to your point, I would argue that I'm doing that because this is this line of perfect intel, perfect intel. I keep seeing this in the comments. Perfect intel. One side gets perfect intel, one side doesn't. This is why. This is why. And as for give them a little bit of intel, that's what's happening in the quote unquote simulation. I acknowledge it's not a simulation. That's pretty much just a brand name at this point. It's an animation, a battle animation. That's pretty much what you're seeing before your eyes. They're live getting intelligence and adapting as they go. It does. I was assuming the modern army the same information as the original army of Winterfell, so I don't think it was. Sorry, where'd that comment go? It's really scrolling. Had the same information as the original army of Winterfell, so I don't think it was perfect intelligence. That's a good point too, because in this case, the defenders did have very, very good intelligence on the enemy. They pretty much knew everything we knew as the observers to this one I ran, right? So they knew pretty much in terms of their capabilities, their units, their numbers, what their weaknesses were, what their strengths were. So yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure if you are like arguing or agreeing with my point, but I think that's a good take. Not perfect intelligence. Both sides have a rough idea constrained by their own knowledge, experience, and capability. If each other's capabilities would be interesting to experiment with one day. Yeah, but again, apply that example. It's easy to say. It's easy to say, I'll give them a little bit of intelligence. Give that example, apply it to this video, and show me that it doesn't result in the spiral down here. You get what I mean? Well, I sip on my drink. And Operation Market Garden, of course. How did I forget that? Up. I don't think a battle where the modern troops lose would be as bad of a video as you think it is. I think the enemy besting a sound plan, even if it meant a Pyrrhic victory, would be a good idea. How do you pronounce that? Is that Pyrrhic or Pyrrhic? It's Pyrrhic victory, right? Pyrrhic victory. I know what that means. It's like you won, but your victory was so costly that it was just as bad as losing, effectively. But I don't know how you pronounce Pyrrhic. I think it is Pyrrhic victory. Up. Was Ron Perlman in that dog of a movie? What the fuck? What movie? Gurkhas. A lot of Gurkhas. Oh man, the chat keeps scrolling down on me. Gurkhas. No, I don't want to read this. I don't think a battle. I read it. Makes sense after all the modern troops are placed and have all the knowledge of the people they replaced, but the bad guys have the knowledge because in that world no one has fought the modern troops yet. That's a fair point too. What the... you know what though? You could argue, and to be fair, I didn't mention this, you could argue that the Night King wargs into the Ravens and uses the Ravens as intelligence and knows where the the defenders are. And he knows they have Dothraki, he knows this. Which, to be fair, if that is the case, that's more of an indictment on him as a leader. Because if he did know that they had their forces positioned there to the north, and he still did that crazy frontal assault, then it kind of proves my point that he's not a strategic mastermind. Not because he's an idiot, but just because he doesn't think about strategy the way we do. Because he's an undead mage who's 3,000 years old. Early modern armies versus fiction would be cool. For intelligence comment, what you could do is have the undead move as a scout. Since the Night King knows everything, the undead knows, I think, but he could send forward a few undead. Yeah, so intelligence, like I was saying though, he's got ravens, so he's probably got the intelligence already with the ravens. Or if he doesn't, that would be the way he can get it. As for the battle itself, it'd be funny if one of the Lyran Steel tipped Hachian warpads actually directed. Yep, we talked about that. Colony rescue Hadley's Hope. Yeah, that comes up a bit. Wait, could you use an army from the Bronze Age? Man, I can't even be mad at the creativity you cunnies are coming up with to slip this in. Pause. All right, where are we going? Where's the comments? Man, it keeps disappearing. As the battle itself, I read it. Bronze Age. 1944 Army. Hadley's Hope. My input is obsolete. Even then, why not give the sniper some of the Valerian steel? We talked about it. Rifle might get copyright struck. One could argue they didn't have time to build a naval battle. Average guardsman victory. Message retracted, naughty boy. Pyrrhic. Is that what I was saying? The technological stagnation for 10k years kind of annoys me in Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's true. Good point. We should replace Hercules with another tactical draw. Could be a cool scenario. Knocking out at the defensive lines. Estonian SF assaulting a character as smart as the rider. France Army vs War of the Worlds. He could also not just be ready to change his plan. Making plans on the fly is hard from my experience in RTS, so if he meets with something completely new, he probably won't have the slightest idea. Yeah, and I don't think he'd care. I just think he's... Again, you're immortal, you live forever. He's just going to be like, I'm just going to go, whites, go, charge now. If they all die, presumably he just walks away, goes, kills more people, or goes and resurrects more bodies from somewhere and comes back and tries again. If you had an infinite source of manpower, yeah, that would be how you think about it. Unfairly certain belts of API. Yeah, API would work. I'm just going to say basketball was boring. Taylor Clem's biggest fan. Who's Taylor Clems? Is that a basketball player? That would be delicious irony or jest, if so. Moving on. Next slide. How long will I go on? 120. Fuck me dead. Okay. Clement Co. I think it would be interesting to try sum up the cost of ammunition used during the battle from the friendly side. I used to do this. Well, I didn't at the very start, and then I started doing it, and I decided to just not do it anymore because, like the animations that I did for Thermopylae, it just wasn't worth the squeeze. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze on this number crunching game that I did. It took a fair while to come up with these, and it didn't seem to be frank, getting much love in the comments. So it was one of these things. I was like, I'm just going to cut this away. I don't think many dudes would miss this. And again, I know dudes do appreciate that. Some of the dudes in the members live stream were saying like, no, keep it. But I hate to say it, it's a minority, I think, of the viewership that finds this very, can be boring, logistic part, the bullets, beans, and bandages, finds it interesting. So it's one of these things just for me in terms of like the time and the workflow. I was like, if I chop something out, it's going to be this. It just wasn't really worth the squeeze. The other thing I was seeing as a trend was that I would frequently get like arguments about the ammo count, but not based on some of the arguments that are well-founded, are fair, as in like, oh, I don't think the percentage of hit rates are fair, that sort of thing. No worries, totally fair arguments. But the ones which I was seeing a lot of, which was, how do I describe it? I can say this because I'm part of this, arguably. Bro vet comments that's like, I don't know where you got those ammo numbers from. When I was on deployment, we carried this many rounds. It was just dudes arguing about the initial starting ammo that I'd come up with. And all it was like a 2-paragraph comment of this one time when I was in Afghanistan, I carried all these bullets. That was like a comment I kept seeing over and over again. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not going to keep putting this ammunition comment up because all it seems to be doing is triggering like GWAT vet bros. And I can slag out GWAT vet bros because I am a GWAT vet bro. Huh. Thank me for my service. Thank you for your service, GWAT vet bros. So yeah, I kind of got over that, to be honest. I was like, not the point. Like, the starting ammo is arbitrary, right? Like, obviously I don't know the exact ammo count of what the Greek ETA Special Forces unit uses, nor do I know the exact starting ammo count for a defensive battle of the 1st Yorkshire Infantry Battalion. So you just have a starting point, which is somewhat plausible. But yeah, there's just heaps of arguments about the minutia of the ammo starting point, and that was kind of getting irritating, to be honest. So that was one of the other reasons I was like, fuck this. It's like all the effort into working out the numbers, and it was just this. It's almost a red herring argument, right? Like, it's not about the core of the figures. It's like, no, these numbers are dumb because when I did it, it was different. So yeah, it got on my tits, to be honest. Chat. Naval battles, I read it. Mr. CSRC, can I steal your video format when modern armies facing fictional or historical battles with a drone and such? I bloody prefer you didn't, but ultimately I can't stop you, mate. It's free YouTube, capitalist, competition-driven market. If you can do it and attract viewers to yourself, go nuts. And there's about a squillion procedurally generated AI, fucking white background thumbnail, totally AI voiced, AI script written, AI everything edited animated channels now doing this. I've noticed I keep getting recommendations for them. So yeah, man, if you're gonna do it legit, send it. Why doesn't this fictional tale exactly match my lived experience? Real. Amateurs study tactics, professionals study logistics. He said the thing. GJJ68. Though if I were to join my country's military, I want to be a loggy. What are we talking about ships for? I missed this. Starting ammo is subjective. Yeah, I agree. Cavalry need less bullet to kill. It's a bigger target, and rider without horse is meaningless. What are you talking about? It's on screen. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. I say only have ammo counts for forces taking place of encircled units if that, but wouldn't make sense strategically. That's a fair point. Wouldn't make sense strategically, tactically to arbitrarily limit to those in intact supply route, which I would argue that for this one they did have an intact supply route. So Krieg 43, I think that's a good take. You're this guy's a dead set fuckhead. The freakiest of history. Wait, if we have a gas-using Brom, could it kill the Night King? Like, would the Brom gas work? Get the fuck out of here. Have you considered having a modern army fight one powerful one, for example, a dragon from D&D, or How to Train Your Dragon? No. Pirates. How to Train Your Dragon versus something Nordic? What are we talking about? Okay, I'm going to move on. I don't know why we're talking about How to Train Your Dragon. I'm not seeing it. Next. Okay, so that's the comments. Really, those are the big ones. It's why didn't you use this gun, that bullet, this explosive, this thing. Pretty, I would say tame. Oh, fucking good grief. Let's click escape. Pretty tame. Critiques. By tame, I mean no one was like hating my guts, which is nice. I'm not trying to wind people up. But those were the most common trending critiques. It was, you should have used this, you should have used that. Long story short, why I didn't, boys, a lot of it was just narrative, stylistic choice, okay? And I'll sort of get to that in some of these slides. The other thing I'll yap to here, this is unsolicited, but man, sound design, I really sort of got my teeth sunk into it for this one in the battle. That's a screenshot of my bloody CapCut. All these red ones are files that have since been deleted because I finished it and then went back and took this screenshot. Haha. But yeah, man, sound is wild. I have a newfound respect for like sound engineers and Foleys. Who are the dudes who make the sound effect for films and all that? Because like, how do you make sound for a... what was one I remember really struggling for when I was trying to... So each one of these is like machine gun burst, mortar crash, all that sort of thing. And wherever possible, I'm using sound effects that are the actual weapons. So the Mag 58 is an M240 sound effect I got from like a USMC clip. And the mortars, I encourage you, if you haven't, go back, watch this video, please, for me, make me happy. Watch this battle with your headphones on, because it's kind of a feast for the ears. And I think it builds sort of the emotional weight of the battle up as well, through some of the music that I added and trying to get the music to time with the moments and all this. It's really complicated stuff, but really fun. So none of the other ones I had any music. I started using music and drones and sound effects and all this. I think Thermopylae was the first one. And there's little Easter eggs all through as well. So go back, give it a listen with your headphones on if you haven't. There's some treats in there for you. But I'm going to keep this on going forwards. It takes longer, of course, than having no sound effects. But it's good fun. And yeah, like I said, respect to sound engineers and sound designers. The other thing is, this is an example, I spent hours trawling through Sharp on YouTube, which if you haven't seen this is goated. So this is like, I've never watched the whole thing. I watched a lot of it in pursuing this video. But all those little sound bites of, you see at the start in the intro when I'm talking about the Yorkshire accent of bastard, move you lazy bastards, you fat bastard. That's this dude, Sean Bean playing Chap Sharp. I think Sharp is a fictional character, but it's like, what do you call it? The Napoleonic Wars, right? The Brits v the Frenchies, haha. So it's actually sick. Like some of the battle scenes, and for its time, I think it's like an 80s series. It must have been huge budget because some of the actual set piece battle, like I wouldn't even say scenes. They're like very spectacular. It's very impressive. But anyway, I spent hours going through this just trying to find the appropriate audio soundbite for that final scene where he does the, what does he even say in the end? Because I wanted him to say stab the bastard, end the bastard. I had a few things written down. Finish the bastard was the closest I could find. And even then it was like finish was one word I clipped of him saying, and then the bastard was from another clip, and then I had to like splice them together. So yeah, sound design, wild. But yeah, this was Chekhov's bastard coming back in full swing from being mentioned at the start of the video to returning at the end. Chat. Oh man, Sharp is great TV. Yeah, it's crazy good. It's really, really good. It was really, really good. I did it with headphones first time and it was good. Yeah, nice. Upon seeing Sharp, I naturally gave the video a like. It's my style, so nice. It's a great show. Based. Yeah, it's a sick show. It's fucking great. It's really good. Like I'd happily sit down and watch the whole thing. Like I said, I hadn't seen it before. I think maybe in my childhood I remember catching it on like ABC or SBS or whatever it would have been on back then. But yeah, going through and flicking through it, like looking for this clip, I was like, this show rocks, man. Sharpie is a bastard, lol. Must have been Major Lee. You fucking rat. Must have been Major Lee Bron. You spelt the Lee like that, and it's the second time I've fallen for this. Fuck yeah. His squad of... Hang on, who's... I'm going to read the name for the comment, so I know if I'm not getting... This is like, what do you call it? Rick-rolled, but LeBron rolled. Is there a word for that? Check CZ. His squad or regiment, correct me wrong, is a Brunswick or that specific regiment in GMB London who is shooting at us. Chosen men to me. I think we all love that edit, my man. 95th Rivals. Wait, Lee Brown got promoted to major. If we have a bomb and James orders it to be dropped, when a French person is confused, do they say, Lee Bomb of James? Have you read Recollections of Rifleman's Harris? Great read, listen from the Peninsular War and big inspiration for Sharp. No, I have not. I'm not very familiar with this entire era, to be honest. Like honestly, my history war reading pretty much stops at, I wouldn't say World War II because World War One. I've messed with a few Billy Singh book, this kind of thing, but mostly World War II. So no, I have not. Okay, moving on. What do you use to animate this? That came from Gas Mask Solo. Daniel Starnes 9761 says, hope you don't mind my asking, but what software do you use to make these maps and animations? So the maps first, mostly for this one, Photoshop, Canva, and this one is, it's called Dragon Craft. No, is it Incarnate? I can't remember the name of it. Why I can't remember it is because it's not me who does these. I have the old ball and chain. The wife, yes. A very talented lady, much more talented graphic designer than me. She does a lot of the heavy lifting on this, particularly anything Photoshoppery. But this one, there's a little battle map generator thing. You can use it for the close scale stuff, which is what I'm hovering my mouse on here. So you can mix this and you get it in Photoshop and you do with all the other stuff, like the detailing. So like little mag, I don't know if you can tell, you can't see in this one, but if you've watched the video, there's actually like little mag 58s and shit I chucked in the towers and piles of brass. I didn't do too much clutter on this one because I realized it was like too far up. You probably weren't going to notice it. But is it Incarnate? It's driving me nuts. It's like a battle map maker thing. This top left one was, I made this in Canva. I found a map of the North in Google Images, traced it, like pretty much made it my own. I didn't like copy paste it. I like went over it and fucking hand traced it and shit. And then this one you can't tell here, but this is like military map style, as in the way the vegetation looks. Same with these ones. And I was really pleased with how these two came out. So the big scale, the macro and the micro planning maps, these were inspired by modern military maps. So if you go and look at how we did the vegetation, you can even just see here like the pine tree icons and all that, signifying a thick forestry belt, and then the more sporadic vegetation here. And these things here signifies like grass plains. And even the way you look at the town, like anyone who's looked at a military map, you'll like recognize it straight away. We pretty much took inspiration from a modern MGRS map. So I was super stoked with how these two came out. And these were Photoshop. Pretty easy. Oh, sorry, not just Photoshop, because she uses one other thing for the contours. The contours are one of these architectural program things. Not 3D Max. I can't remember what it's called. It's one of the things that lets you draw contour lines and shit, and then you can like render the contours into terrain. I can't remember what that one is, but I think she puts the lines in that, and then she'll do a lot of Photoshopery for the details. So yeah, I really did the heavy lifting on this one, but for these, she'll do like the detailing, and then I plug, this is a Canva template I now have, so the brown background and all this text and shit, so I can just mix this around for every video. But then stuff like this is almost all the boss, the Photoshopery here. And like these little trees, these look fucked at first. So we had to go in and just Photoshop with the stamp tool, like a little shadow, like tick, tick, tick on every little tree. Because getting this to look like night was actually kind of fucking tricky. That was one of the visual challenges here. How to make it look like a night scene, but not have it be pitch black, like the fucking show. So that was how we ended up going for a moonlit night, which is not how it is in the show. But, you know, I want everyone to be able to see something, right? Unlike the fucking movie. So this is what we ultimately settled on. But I think it came out really good. I was pleased with how these maps looked. Blissfully, very easy because there's no terrain. So when there's no hills, there's no relief, it's much easier to do it. As soon as you have hills and even cliffs and all this sort of stuff, it's really difficult to get like the maps looking nice. So this one being very flat made it kind of easier. But yeah, 7 different variations of this map, as you can see. For the animations, I get not everyone cares about this, by the way, both for you dudes in chat and anyone watching this in comment form, but there are dudes every video who ask about this kind of behind the scenes stuff, so here I am delivering. You got to give the people what they want, manja manja. This is how the animations happen in PowerPoint. So we're in PowerPoint right now watching one of these fucking lives. So I sit here and I drag the little red dots around and then I drop bombs on them and I have them animate in time with the bombs exploding. The one thing I did for this, no, I did 2 new things for this I'm quite chuffed with. I try and get a little better every video, these animations. I try and improve something. For this one, it was the white phosphorus. So you can see these white phosphorus explosions. That's like a native PowerPoint thing. That's just PowerPoint assets. Oh, sorry, I lied. There's a smoke PNG in there. But you can just see like the tendrils of the white phosphorus. That's just like a starburst thing from PowerPoint. Animated very particularly. And the other thing is the muzzle flash, which probably a bit big. You can see those muzzles going nuts from the Mag 58s on the tower. They're probably like 15 meters long for scale here. But yeah, much nicer looking muzzle flash in this than if you go back and look at Thermopylae. And pre-Thermopylae, I didn't have any muzzle flash. So just slowly getting better and nicer at some of these finer details of the animation in every video. And for this one, for those of you who care, probably the biggest challenge and the biggest time consuming thing was every slide, I would drag each red dot individually forwards. That was the only way to make them flow accurately, because you can't just like highlight, select all rectangle tool, drag them forwards. It doesn't look like they're hitting the obstacles and slowing down and speeding up. So yeah, I would sit here and like this guy would go here, this guy would go there, he'd go there, he'd go there. And then the guys who were back here, they'd go in the trench. And then the guys who were in the trench, they're running forwards into these wires, so on and so forth. So moving each little red dot at a time, rather therapeutic, but yeah, it took a bloody red hot minute, I'll tell you that. So it takes a while, but it's the only way to make it look nice and have it flow. And this was really cool because this one, it was like red dot fluid dynamics almost by the time I was done with it. They were very naturally moving just by proxy of the way that I'd like dragged each guy like 10 meters every time or ish. So, and yeah, I was kind of chuffed with how it came out in the end. So yeah, chat. Up. Incarnate. Thank you. Did I say that? Yeah, it's fucking Incarnate. That's the one. You just watch Sharp for the shoulder boulder action. Philippine Army, I'm reading comments. Docky, Zoom. Wouldn't a naval battle just turn into... And then modern destroys... Yeah, chat's talking about the naval battle. Origin Alpha says, looks like Incarnate. That is the one. Anamachi History. Hey, Mang, how you doing? Well, there's a channel I can recommend to improve your historical literacy. It's pretty good. And there would be an active patriotism. Yeah, man. I should swing by your neck of the woods more. I'm bloody rude. But appreciate you swinging by here, Dig. Looks like it's Incarnate. I read it. Well, tell her I really like her work. Thanks. Self promo for 90 viewers at 3:40 a.m. I think it's self promo. It's just like answering how it's done. Like people ask, man. They're curious. Yeah. I'm bloody telling people how I do the work because they ask. Could do a small Corvette. IG, I just Googled it and clicked the first one. IG? Instagram? What does that mean? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, hi, Anamachi. Yeah, and the Machi history is here. Without missiles. Old mate is up at 0 Dark 30 as well. Call it act of solidarity. I wonder, what are you bloody doing up so early? Under there are any top attack, heat, A-ship missiles. You have disgraced us, shamed us, so you will answer. Probably not due to the relative lack of armor compared to early Cold War 4. 3D battle animations and viewpoints would be great. Yeah, so I've messed with other ideas here. I've messed with, there's those ultimate battle simulator games. And there's a few other sort of options I've looked into over the time, but you know, I think now I'm kind of locked into this. It's just sort of become, I'm getting better at it. Like it's simple, but it's almost a character now, I think, of the videos and the channel. So I'm enjoying doing this. Maybe there'll come a time when I upgrade. I think maybe I'll upgrade to After Effects or a better just animator, but I think I'll keep to this orthographic 2D top-down view for the most part. Okay, what else we got? Oh, shit, that scrolled down so far. What am I up to? I can't read that. This shit would drive me absolutely insane. Yeah, it's, like I said, it can be therapeutic, but it can be bloody insanity making as well. When a French person knows, I'm not reading that. That's a freakiest of history, which means there's going to be a LeBron James reference in there. What about the Salvation War? I'm not sure what that is. Sea skimming. We're talking about ships. I missed the start of the ship conversation, so I'm not bought into it. I'm sorry. Milan. The quality may become 8K in the next 2 videos. Ultimate Aerial. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Harpoon, Top Attack, Ultimate, Admiral, Dreadnoughts. Okay, you're talking about naval stuff first. Moving on. The other thing here is that final battle. This is another behind the scenes bit. Like, I wrote that. Again, my initial plan was a Star Streak shoots him. He gets killed by the Star Streak standing outside the walls. The other option I was going with was that they'd run out of ammo. That was sort of a bit, I don't know, man, a bit just sort of convenient because I didn't think they would run out of ammo with the amount they'd be treated, they being the enemy, by the artillery. So initially I'd written that Star Streak shot, and then I went away, wrote up the bayonet charge one, and I was reading this to the chat, and this dude here, Ari, was like, yo, this is a fucking banger. And I swear to God, that was the only reason I went ahead with this, because I was reading this aloud thinking, this is insane, and this is the dumbest thing you've ever done. And this was really the testing ground, and this dude dug it, and I was like, that's it, that's all I need. I got 1 thumbs up, I got 1 affirmation, and I'm going ahead with it. Because I was reading to these dudes in this chat like, this is crazy, I don't think this is good, I don't think anyone's going to like this. And yeah, that was all it took. So man, it almost didn't go down that way. So hats off to bloody Ari for giving me the pat in the bum, little motivational head ruffle that I needed. The other thing I'll say about this is, fucking hell, I also tip my hat to George R.R. Martin and fantasy writers, because I don't know how the fuck people write sword battles and medieval duels. There's only so many synonyms for slash, stab, thrust, so on and so forth. And I was writing out these bullet points you can see on the screen for this final battle. Like, this is fucked. How do you write like the same? It's dudes swinging a sword. They're going to swing, they're going to hit, one guy's going to fall dead. Or he's going to miss and he's not going to fall dead. It's like hard to write this stuff. So yeah, I tip my hat to the creative writing chops of fantasy and this genre of dudes, because it's fucking not easy. Obviously I'm not not very good at it. But yeah, I was having a red hot crack and I was like, this is fucked. I don't know how many times I can explain in how many different words a dude swinging a sword or swinging a bayonet. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting as I was writing out that bayonet charge, the final battle, how kind of not as easy as I thought it would be, if that makes sense, when I started it. Chat. Still talking about naval stuff in the chat. Is this a LeBron James thing? I do feel it leans to more narrative parts of the battle sims would be great for these videos. Yeah, it's a balancing game. Balancing game. I think I liked it though, man. It was fun. So I'm going to keep doing that going forward. Did Corporal Stark make it? The animation suggested he didn't die on the spot, says Nijalino. Sunflower Badger says, Corporal Stark, we salute you. R. Nick said 3344 says that Valerian Steel RPG could have just one more shot in it. Justice for Sean Stark. I addressed a Valerian Steel RPG before. Starstreak, Justice for Sean Stark. I don't know. It was implied in those final frames. They're carrying him in. You see them in a little group. They're standing around him. That's the final frame of the battle before it cuts to the outro credits. But I don't know. Is he dead? Maybe he's just wounded. It kind of looks like they're standing around a dead body, the gold dot. But I'm not killing him off officially. I'll leave it open-ended. Maybe Sean Stark comes back in another episode. Maybe we do Battle of the Blackwater or something like this. There's an opportunity for him to come back. Shout out to the cameo, which only one dude noticed, which is this dude here. Love the Sum 41 music video cameo. I threw this in lastminute.com because I used the phrase spontaneously. I think they do now, and straight away I had the flashback to this iconic bit of pop punk lore. If you're not familiar with this song and this video clip, probably means nothing to you, so you won't care, so I'll move on quickly. But yeah, this is a handy Easter egg to anyone versed in the early 2000s pop punk genre of music. This one. No, I haven't seen Gate. I'm never going to watch Gate. I don't like Gate. I don't like talking about Gate. I don't like people asking about Gate. Heavenly Demonic Cult Leader says, video idea suggestion. Do you know that isekai anime called Gate Self-Defense Force? What if that, but instead of Japanese isekai, it's Chinese cultivation? How would modern Earth deal with all a cultivation world of magical martial arts and thousands-year-old monsters? I have no idea because I'm never going to do the analysis because I'm not going to do Gate ever. End of. Point blank. I don't know how to emphasize it anymore. I'm not doing Gate. I don't like it. I'm sick of comments about Gate. I'm going to ban the word Gate from the chat. You can do that. You can put like filters in shit where like select words are just like omitted. I'm going to do that to Gate. All right? I said it before. I'll bloody say it again because it keeps coming up every time. Random stuff. Miscellaneous, fun, dumb, funny. Let me check chat real quick. Based anime rejector. That's the first thing I see when I go to chat. Chat. I don't listen to anymore. A modern infantry company replacing the defenders at the Battle of Bunker Hill or the platoon at the Battle of Lexington would be cool. I know you said real events aren't your first choice, but hey, fair. The world's naval budget. Not reading it. Okay, I get it. No Gate. Take a shot every time Gate is mentioned. XD. Yeah. Man, I've got to keep saying it. Every video. Gate. Have you seen Gate? Have you seen Gate? Put Gate on. Have you done Gate? You should do Gate. Gate is so buns if you want buns. If you want 12. What if... No, I thought it was just like JDSF glazing and that's it. Yeah, I'm not saying it. I just know it involves Japanese Defense Force. The pin comment. The free pin. Is he having a bar choosing that absolute chip shop, Reg? Bunch of lizards, a lot of them. Should have used the second Queen's Crappuccino rifles if he wanted some fucking proper hard lads. It's going for a bit of a Barry the Baptist from Lockstock thing there. Bit of a London geezer, yeah? Fucking lizards. Northern fucking monkeys. Yorkshire fucking chip shop regiment. But yeah, lizards is, if you've hung around with any British military dudes, I'd never heard the word lizards until more recently. I want to say like last 10, 15 years. So I'm not sure if it's like a newer insult, but man, lizards is like their insult of choice. And it's funny because it's just, I don't know why it became a slur for them, but yeah, lizard is like not a nice thing to say. Like if you're asking a British dude like, hey man, have you heard about Smithy in One Yorks? And he's like, mate, he's a fucking lizard. That is like, bro, a condemnation. Like that dude sucks. Or this dude hates him if he calls him a lizard. So it's just funny what I had to weave in there because, again, the dudes who are British, I presume and hope you got a kick out of that. And the dudes like me who are not but have worked with or I've been exposed to British Army lore, yeah, he probably would have got a chuckle out of that, maybe even a little belly laugh. And the same thing with chip shop reg. I just hear them saying that a lot. That they would describe a rival unit or a unit they think sucks as just like fucking chip shop reg, fucking bunch of chip shop muppets. And yeah, the implication being that they're just like, well, efficient chip shop regiment. They'd be better off serving fish and chips than doing soldiering. Speaks for itself, really. Last one's here's, even the Night King is not immune to the time-honoured tradition of getting jumped by lads with the fixed knives. I'll fucking wet you, mate. Real bad man. Road man. The Night King finally experienced the London special. So yeah, the old bloody... Got a license for that knife, mate. Got a license for that obsidian bayonet, geezer. Yeah, there's some funny lore here to be had, huh? Weaving the UK real life, I don't know, criminal and geopolitical events and references into the video. I don't think I'll go near that obsidian landmine, but yeah, the comments section certainly were happy to do so, so I'm happy to bloody read them out, if you catch my drift. Honestly, the only battle I'd recommend from Gate would be the Hakone incident. I'm not reading Gate fan figures, so Howard J. Sock handle hunting down Prince Kassad from CNC General 0 Hour. I laughed because as soon as I read Prince Kassad, I immediately got the reference. That's such a good fucking game. That was said by Von Miladiman Alastas. Maybe I mispronounced that. That's fine. Command and Conquer is Generals is sick. 0 Hour was sick as well. I think people love it because it's the only big studio that has ever done modern verse fantasy stuff. Yeah, I can see why people love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. I just don't watch anime in general. 1, 2, every video I make, there's about, I don't know, I don't want to exaggerate, dozens, we'll say, dozens of comments asking if I've seen Gate, or this reminds them of Gate, or I should do Gate, or words to that effect. So it's just kind of, it's a meme, it's an in-joke, it's an ongoing thing that, like, I'm sick of hearing about Gate, and I'm never going to do a Gate video. That's it. Gate fans keep moving. This is CSRC country. Yeah! Don't forget to like the stream, guys. 36 out of the 85 watching have so far. Where does it say that? How do you know that? Is there likes on it? Oh, I'm seeing like, I can't see likes on my YouTube panel. I see the chat, and then I see views, and I see chat rate. I don't know what that means. Yeah, okay, yeah, fucking like and subscribe. You fucking dogs. When a French person is born, are they le born? Nice. Okay, I'm wrapping up here, boys. I think we've lost our steam. The LeBron jokes aren't hitting as hard anymore, are they? The freakiest of history, huh? They're not bloody as good as when you were. You've fallen off, mate. You've fallen off. You were bloody ripping and tearing an hour ago. You've run out of steam, haven't you? And I don't know, who was your little fucking, you little goony culprit, accomplice in crime, helping you out with the LeBron jokes? I don't know where he went, but your numbers are waning, good sir. Back to the chat. No, back to the screen. Damien Battleforge. Jaime Lannister picks up a Benelli M4 with Valerian steel pellets, faces the Night King. Smiles, the joke dawns on him. Do you know what they call me? Jaime Lannister. What a character. What a character arc. I guess except for the final season. I watched so much Game of Thrones making this video that I feel I've watched the whole thing like 10 times on repeat. I haven't, but just through, watching all the clips and all the scenes and all that shit. Terrific character, bloody old Jaime Lannister. And I did briefly consider leaving in some of these characters, such as Jaime Lannister, in this battle. And I did, in fact, have a whole bit where I described in great detail who the previous defenders were. And then I had this thing where I was going to like compare them to the modern ones. Like they had infantry, light infantry would be like the Northmen. They had heavy infantry, which would be like Knights of the Vale. Elite infantry, arguably, you could say like the Unsullied. You had your mages, like Beric Dondarrion and the Red Witch or the Red Lady Melisande, and all this. And then I was going to have mages in our version be like the Padre, like the battalion chaplain from One Yorks, like standing on the crenellations with the crucifix in hand. I was going to go this route, but I ended up cutting all that out. So yeah, it was just funny when this guy talked about this Jaime Lannister scenario here, because at one point I almost did sort of weave this into it, but ultimately opted not to. Jonathan Ferguson, just a shout out here for this one. Shout out to Jonathan. If you ever watch this, I don't think you will. If you ever watch the main video, hi. Yeah, so I just emailed the man. Again, I'm not going to dox his bloody email, but you can find it if you look hard enough. His work email, obviously, not his bloody Gmail. And yeah, man, he was super helpful. He got back to me and gave me a bunch of information on what they have, what they didn't have. I'd asked about the vehicles as well. He didn't have too much to offer there, but he gave me, like I said in the video, not much more to it. He gave me pretty much the head start on where to sink my teeth into researching the flamethrower side of the research. So, yeah, man, shout out to Jonathan Ferguson. I'm aware of the meme. The meme is this is his full legal name that these dudes here in the chat are saying. J.K. Roscoe, for example. Oh, hey, it's Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons throughout history. I'm aware I didn't say his full legal name in the video. I got kind of scared that maybe it wasn't. I underestimated the credibility of the internet. I shouldn't have foolishly. I was like, it's not even that funny. It's not even that like known a thing. But I guess enough of you dudes watch Future Weapons, Forgotten Weapons, and see Jonathan Ferguson recommended in your feed and all this that probably everyone knows about. I should have done the full thing. But either way, I did enough of it that I think it shows that I'm in with the lingo. I'm down with the hip cool kids. The skateboard over my shoulder, Steve Buscemi meme. And these other dudes pretty much saying words to the same effect. Palindrome, AZF, Leonard Smith, 6216. Appreciated the unexpected cameo from Jonathan Ferguson. Keep it up. It's nice to see our good friend Jonathan Ferguson, keeper of firearms. Yeah. So shout out to this meme, and also shout out to Jonathan Ferguson for actually replying to my email. I'm sure he's a busy man. Didn't have to do that. So yeah, if Jonathan ever sees this, thank you to you for your help. It is appreciated. Chat. Up. Lieutenant Sparky, keep up the great bits. Oh, thank you. It's Lova, I'm Brodome, Battle of Yonkers. Yeah, I want to do Battle of... What is this? Konnichiwa, Aussie-san. Have you seen my favorite show? It happens to be a Japanese animated series called Gate. Perhaps you are familiar with it. Gate sells. Gate, banned. F4 Dragon against the Phantom seems fair fight. Oh, I'll put that little meme emoji in there so now I know where I was up to in the chat. I should start doing that more. As someone who watched Gate 10 years ago, your stuff is more entertaining than close. Thank you. I appreciate that. You talking about Gate reminds me of Gate. Have you seen it? I don't know what Gate is neither. How about Battle Chicago for Transformers 3 for an assault mission? What would you do though? Because it's already modern forces, right? It's like Navy SEALs and what are they called? Nest. I can't remember the actor's name. Josh Duhamel. Nest. So they're already like an advanced contemporary. Is that paradoxical to say? They're a modern military force. So who would you replace them with? I don't know. And then Jon Snow comes in with the flamethrower. I read that in my brain in like WWE voice. Aliens vs. Battle of Los Angeles from Reverse of Minor Nation. The what? I'm not reading that. Yep. Got to take some time off for the next vid. Mr. Coral, if you see this comment, I don't really care if maybe a video takes a year long as long as the quality still sticks like 4K. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know what that means, sticks like 4K. Is that like just a saying, or does that mean literally the 4K quality? Sticks like 4K. Or is that a basketball reference? Is that a basketball thing? Basketball's called like 26K or some shit, isn't it? LeBron 24K? Motherfucker? Are you even in LeBron on me? I don't know, but I'll take it. Thank you for your kind words. Next one. This dude just pointed out that incendiary weapons against non-military targets are prohibited. So, he actually deep dove the international humanitarian law and read the fine print. I did not. So, yeah, good to know. We probably have no worries. The UN are not going to have any issues with us barbecuing the White Walkers and the Whites. This one I liked. This is like just a glaze comment, but I still, it made me chuckle. Anarchy and Empires, 54, 52. Sounds like bloody, sounds like Anamachi History's got some competition. HBO, he made this in a cave with a box of scraps. Of course, a reference to the classic Iron Man first movie. Yeah, like I said, it's glaze. It just is a funny one. It made me huff. That's pretty much us, boys. I got no more comments to share. Complimentary ones here. I appreciate all of you. I'm not going to read them all. Like I said, I got a lot of positive comments on this one, which was, it's nice, man. Obviously, you make a product. We're capitalists, right, boys? Ain't no reds in here. Ain't no reds in the chat. Huh? You know what I mean? You make a product. The product either sucks and no one likes it, no one buys it, no one consumes it, or you make a product and it's good and people enjoy it. In this case, it's a video and people watch it and engage with it. So, you know, it's nice to spend time making something and have it be received favorably. It's a very human thing. I won't deny that. So yeah, man, thanks to all these dudes commenting, this praise from everyone, not just these, many others, of course. You dudes in the chat, LeBron jokes aside as well. Anyone dropping niceties? Yeah, I really appreciate it. It does make it easier to, well, bloody keep going and, you know, continue pumping stuff out and continue working on it, because we're people. We're just big lizard-brained, walking upright monkeys. We like positive feedback. We like being told we're doing a good job. I'm just the same as everyone else, and that applies to me too. So yeah, thanks to anyone who leaves positive comments on the videos. I genuinely appreciate it. Makes me feel nice. Question time, boys. And if not questions, suggestions. Now's your chance. If you've been saying in the chat the fucking Lithuanian 24th Territorial Hussars verse, I don't know, man. Whoever, now's your chance. Send it. I'm listening. I'm reading. I'll even take notes if your suggestion is good enough. Comments here real quick. Nah, not the basketball. The undead are not voluntary soldiers, so you could get in trouble there. Yeah, true. Time to pop suggestion. I've been wanting a zombie video, so this was cool. Cheers, Marty. Appreciate you jumping by as well. I always recognize your profile picture, little helmet man. I can never see who it is. It's Top Gun-esque in my brain, but it's so small I can't even see. Okay. These are now suggestions, so I'm going to read them. I'm going to read all the suggestions if you've got suggestions. Blessed One says, what would you think about doing a video about Scottish Army unit defending Hogwarts from Harry Potter? Harry Potter is on the cards. It's been discussed before in streams and in posts. Definitely will do it one day. I think I'll probably do defending, but defending against, what's his name? Who's Snake Man? I'm going to have to bloody do some research on the Harry Potter franchise, evidently. Voldemort. Ray Fiennes. Voldemort. He's bald. Laughs funny. I've seen that meme. I'm going to have them defend from Voldemort, but I haven't quite decided on the unit. So to answer your question, yes, I think it's a good idea. I haven't quite settled on the unit. I would probably make it defensive versus an offensive one. So that's on the list already. But yes, thank you. Good suggestion. Silly video idea. Taliban versus Stormtroopers on Endor. Man, what the fuck? Taliban versus Stormtroopers. Honestly, this might be a better zombie vid than Yonkers could be. Thank you. The Allies' assault on Death's Head compound from Wolfenstein with late Cold War era forces and aircraft could be interesting. With how it went horribly for the Allies. I can't say I'm familiar with that. I take it that's one of the more recent Wolfenstein games of which I've not played. Like my Wolfenstein stopped at Wolfenstein 3D. No, I lie. There was like a late 90s, early thousands Wolfenstein as well. I can't remember what that one was called, but I played that one a little bit. Thank you for the interesting videos. No, thank you, Nocturnal81. Appreciate that. Well, almost spoil, lol. It's not really a spoiler because I'm not locked in on it. How are you even supposed to do Battle of Hogwarts? The magic system is so loose, it's impossible to really plan against. Yeah, with great difficulty and probably a lot of controversy. Naval battle, you're picked. Reverse final countdown, JS, Izumo and Kaga versus Pearl Harbor. Okay, so I'll say this, boys. Ideally, so here's the guidelines, right? The video or the battle, it has to be efficiently portrayed on a 2D orthographic map. As in, if I can't show it in a top-down view, then it's not going to work. That's one of the guidelines or the criteria. Secondly, preferably it's from a big franchise or a big intellectual property, or it's a well-known battle. That's number 2. For obvious reasons. I don't want to do super obscure, esoteric stuff that no one's ever heard of, because then no one's going to watch the video. And if I don't even know about it too, then am I even really invested in it? Sure, I'm going to have to research some of these ones I don't know. But you know what I mean? Wherever possible, we want to do the big stuff first. Now, yes, there's going to come a time we'll run out of the big battles, but that time is certainly not now. How about the smallest unit that can take on Smaug inside the Lonely Mountain? Interesting. In Modern Army defending Nerve HQ in End of Evangelion. I've not seen it. I just know it's anime. Used to play on SBS in Australia way back. Stargate, anything Stargate related. 40k, Last Fortress on Vrax. They're not using the more crazy elements of the setting, but it's a fortress the size of a city with unlimited supplies and fanatic cultists. That sounds kind of cool. So this 40k thing, to your point on Warhammer, every time this comes up, dudes say that there's like a Bible effectively. Like there's something that is the sole canon, and then everything else is just a bunch of bullshit. And so everyone says if you ever do a 40k video, make sure you only go off this book or this thing. I can't remember what it is, what resource. What is that thing? That's first question. And then, yeah, secondly, the 40k battle's got to be one where, well, much like we were just talking about with our defense of Winterfell, what's stopping the 40k Devil, Satan, Marines from orbital striking us before we even hit the battlefield? You get what I mean? So there's got to be some battle where, due to, I suppose, the narrative at play or the circumstances at play, they don't have their insanely overpowered weapons available. Because as I understand it, they're far more technologically advanced than us, and they have better weapons than us at every scale, like tactical and strategic level. So it'd have to be kind of a very nitpicked, hand-picked opponent battle from the 40k universe, I feel. Voldemort, I think, yeah. How would the Kazakh ground forces face defending Baikonur against the GLA? GLA from again, Command and Conquer. Where I was up to. Reddit. Could do the retaking of the atmospheric processor with a modern assault unit from Aliens. Aliens is certainly on the list. Again, it's a very popular request because it's a very popular movie. I love it. One of my favorite movies. The hard part there is just you obviously do an offensive one for that, but it's weird to do for two reasons. One, the graphic design, the maps, it's underground, so that's difficult. And secondly, how do you do it? It's just the Marines move down the stairs, an alien jumps out and attacks them. They shoot the alien and it dies. They move down another level. Suddenly, 3 aliens attack them. They shoot in all directions, and one of them gets eaten. And it would pretty much just be that. It would all just be kind of the way I did the final bayonet battle from Winterfell. That would be sort of how the whole animation for aliens goes. Just because of how the nature of the terrain in that battle plays out. They're just underground in the alien nest, and there's the aliens just jumping out and attacking them. Because presumably they're doing the same thing they are in the film. They have to go down and rescue the civilians, right? Up. Could do Operation Sunburst based on the animation by Sodas. Yeah, that's a great animation. I watched that when I was making my Fallout video. Voldemort. Yeah, that's how it says, right? That's his fucking name. Baldy. As Fallout New Vegas itself is basically nothing about the battle. True. Look at the top of his head. What if a modern military force went to the first mission from Menace? I don't know what Menace is. How would Exsoft extract the colonials from New Caprica? New Caprica? That's Battlestar Galactica? Wow, I've not seen that in a hot minute. Wolfenstein is surely that Thingu that Germany won World War II. Naval battle, your pick of which one. What do you do? Battlefield? Do you do Battleship, the show, the movie? That's a big just commercial for a board game, starring Taylor Kitsch and Alexander Skarsgård. Or Battle of Washington from Fallout 3 with 1980s 11th ACR. Well, you missed the new Wolfensteins, you're missing out. True. I've not seen them. Armament engagement from Mad Max, maybe the Wasteland War from Furiosa. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, how do you take down... You know what? That's not bad, because you could do, like, how do you take down the Citadel, the Bullet Farm, and Mad Max Citadel / Furiosa. I'll put that in. I'll make a note of that. One of the many Gears battles. The Mad Max comment there reminds me of Waterworld. Someone always suggests the Atoll, the Battle of the Atoll from Waterworld. I think that would be fun, just because of how sick the map would be. How about Operation Monolith from Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, but the Ukrainian army isn't stupid? I don't remember the Battle of the Monolith. I remember the crazy factions fighting over it, but I don't remember what the battle was about. Well, I guess that could be kind of touchy. A serious idea would be something that I said at the start of the stream, some form of tank force, say Russian BTG battalion tactical group, going for the comms satellite in Star Trek DS9. I don't remember the episode name. I've not seen any. Is that Deep Space Nine? I stopped at, I think, SG1, and then I didn't even watch all of SG1. So I'm not too sure what that is, my man. It sounds kind of obscure, to be honest. Vietnam era, 25th ID swapped with the GAR for the Battle of Umbara from the Clone Wars, real Vietnam and space Vietnam. So Umbara is also on my list. Umbara was actually on the top 3 to be this next video. I ended up steering away from Umbara for a few reasons. One, it was rapidly becoming difficult to map, but the bigger one is that I had reached out to a bunch of what to call them, Star Wars SMEs, experts, other YouTubers, and I didn't hear back from any of them. So they're fucking dogs and I'm off them. No, I'm sure they're busy dudes so they don't check their emails or their DMs or whatever. So yeah, no shade, no hate. But yeah, I've reached out to a bunch of Star Wars related YouTuber dudes because I want to get it right when I do a Star Wars thing and really just have someone to bounce off and like flick RFIs to. But I didn't hear back from these dudes, and I was like, I don't want to go ahead with this without vetting or being able to reach out to one of these guys just to have that expert credibility, like voice, to the research of this video. So that was kind of what stopped Umbara. But I've got a good idea for Umbara, bit subverting the expectations, but I would defend the city of Umbara, the planet, which is just called Umbara. It's the capital. I would help the Umbarans defend it from the clone troopers. And the reason being is I watched another YouTube video And it was this dude pretty much doing a big like analysis on how the clones were well and truly the bad guys in the Battle of Umbara. Like the Umbarans were one of these systems that were planets well and truly justified in like splitting from the Republic and going with the CIS. Like they were totally, it just made sense for them, like diplomatically, strategically, geopolitically. And then his whole take, I was like, you know what? This man's fucking right. The Umbarans were like righteous defenders, defending their homeland, and like the clones were totally fighting on the wrong side of history in this particular battle. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to help them defend. It's going to be like modern army partner force with the Umbarans, or maybe it's the other way around because they're more technologically advanced than us, against the clone troopers. Something like this. So yeah, what do you reckon of that? Of course, not niche stuff. But Mad Max ambush on the big initial convoy from the start of Fury Road. That could be fun, doing like a moving thing. Now remembering the battle probably isn't room for a tank platoon. All jokes aside, great videos, bud. You're wicked talented. Keep it up. Thank you, Brian Mugern4232. Appreciate that. Idea. What about the Metro game, but this time with modern Russian military? I've not played Metro. I just know it's depressing and involves subways. Kaomoran defense against the wild hunt. They do teleport, which probably puts the idea in the grave where it belongs. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Oh, fuck. Where'd the comments go? Where's... Oh, I missed this. Have I missed comments? Alien assault from X. How's this comment down here? Oh wow, my comment popped up after where I was reading. Here I am. Kaomoran defense against the Reddit. Philippine force against Stargate Jafar. Again, I need like a battle, like an iconic set piece battle that I can put on a map. Like it's, you can't just throw units at me, right? Like I need there to be an existing battle that we can replay. Could the Bundeswehr, I don't know how to pronounce that German word, Panzer Division, destroy the GLA remnants in the Fatherland, the Dragon's Destiny, 0 Hours last mission. Very fun just because I'm a very big 0 Hour fan, but probably a bit too obscure. There is a single WH40K lore Bible news to me. Paraphrasing, maybe Bible's the wrong word, but I don't know, man. All I know is whenever 40K comes up, there's like dudes saying, use this source thing. Alpha Sierra Zulu says, if you ever do 40K, Pancreas No Work is a great YouTube channel that would probably be very willing to collaborate. I'll keep that in mind. E-Day, Battle of Asfo Field, Siege of Anvilgate, all from Gears of War. Another British one, the Battle of Narnia, defending against... Yeah, Narnia's on the list. Narnia's on the list. That is fun. Zombies from PVZ. What's PVZ? MCU Avengers Battle of New York, but it's a New York National Guard. Yeah, that one's on the list too. Also from Avengers, I've got the Battle of Wakanda, like the alien doggies trying to get through the shield. That one I think will make a pretty easy map, actually, which appeals to me. Could do the alien base assault from XCOM with a smaller special ops team should be relatively easy to map. Also, may respect your map and animation skills. Thank you. Also, an opportunity for a superior tech foe. Yeah, I'm due for an offensive one. Subterranean sucks as the main attraction. It does. Godzilla's invasion of New York in the 1988 film, how would you have defended the city? Yeah. Yeah, tricky. Operation Odessa from Gundam with Iraq War coalition units, though the battle is literal millions of troops, thousands of armor and mechs, but it's mostly on a flat desert with large trenches. I'm not familiar with that. Gundam is another anime thing, isn't it? Einstein, Nacies versus Modern Army, Ukraine Army taking Chernobyl from Stalker. If defending Vraks, I'd have read it. No, Imperium. Oh no, this is more 40k. Imperium choose a ground assault over blockade to try and reclaim the infinite stored supplies in the fortress. An attack video would be neat. Modern artillery against aliens in XCOM. Could the 20th SFG take down the Payday gang in the White House? Whatever you pick, I'm sure will make it entertaining. Thank you. Taylor, Clement's biggest fan. What about animes? I'd love to see something like 86 or Attack on Titan. I've not seen them. I'm sure people have suggested, yep, Battle of New York from Avengers. It is on the list. French Army versus War of the Worlds. Why French Army? Like, make it make sense. You know what I mean? Like Northerners in Game of Thrones, Yorkshire. So British Army makes sense. Like, I try and have the replacement force be somewhat tied to the battle. I got a Game of Thrones ADD. Estonian Special Operations Force, ESTSOF Assaulting Control Station Enclave, Lithuanian military. Because most of the movies are American, right? I get it. But it's got to make some sense, my man. You know what I mean? I've got to have some way I can neatly craft the story that the Lithuanian Infantry Brigade Iron Wolf are the most appropriate choice to fight the Brotherhood of Steel in Operation Sunburst. You get what I mean? I'm not trying to piss in your cornflakes or like shit on my Baltic comrades here from Estonia and Lithuania, but it's just got to make it make sense. You get what I mean? Finnish Army versus PLA in Battle of Anchorage. Yeah, same comment, my man. A small strike force trying to take over Galactica, replacing the Cylons in that season 2, episode 2 episode. I'll have to watch it again. Basically, Operation Monolith is when the Ukrainian security service in Stalker itself tries to take the nuclear power plant back from Monolith, crazy cultists with heavy weapons. And what, they failed? Eckhart's Ladder is a good general sci-fi lordship. Yeah, I messaged him, didn't reply. I messaged Eckhart's Ladder and I messaged Generation Tech. Alan, the dude's name is. I quite like his stuff. I don't watch much of Star Wars anything at the moment, but when I was more into Star Wars, this is pre-CSRC, I used to watch his videos. I quite liked. I think he's an ex-military guy. I just get that impression by the way he talks, the things he says, and his analysis, and that a lot of his content is sort of military. It's like if I was a Star Wars channel, I'd probably make videos like what he does. So yeah, I don't know. I get the impression that Alan from Generation Tech is like an ex-military guy. I've never like bloody Googled him or looked into him or anything. So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I messaged him too because I would quite appreciate his feedback in making a Star Wars video, because he'd be, if that is the case, he's a military dude and he's a Star Wars nut. Man, what better a SME to be able to ask questions to flick RFIs to. But yeah, I messaged Alan, did not get a reply. I think I messaged him on a couple of things, found an email and Instagram. I might have spelled it. Umbara defense would be peak. Umbarans with the good guys video is from Geetsleys. Is that the one? I just downloaded it now. Thank you. I want to check that as well later, because yeah, I'd like to rewatch that video. It was very compelling. The Umbarans with the good guys videos. I can't remember if that was the title, but that was the theme. That was the topic. Modern military defends the house from PVZ. That would be funny. While on Star Wars, what about the Citadel raid? Plants vs Zombies PVZ. What the fuck? I'm loosely familiar with the mobile app game Plants vs Zombies, but I've never seen it acronymed. Fucking hell. Okay, where are we at? Iteration of my naval battle question. Plants vs Zombies, the class invasion of Helgan from Killzone with modern US forces, or at the very least an assault on main capital from Killzone 2. I'd have to look into them. If it's a big, spectacular set piece, I could mess with it. Modern military versus all the flak sand invasions from Invincible. That's actually kind of fun, and no one suggested that before. And the flak sands just come out of that one portal in the middle of the street, correct? I'm writing that down. Flak sand invasion / Invincible. Look at you go, mate. You're not just all bloody LeBron jokes and spam and chat. You've actually got some good suggestions to say. Well done. Career single carrier group replaces the entire American fleet at Midway. Has been done a bunch. That YouTube video exists. Gundam is another anime. It's about mechs similar to Pacific Rim, or another anime which is Neon Genesis. French because the Martians go to France after steamrolling Britain in the source material. Oh, word. There is a series called Conflict. It's about some Russian PMCs taking control of a middle-sized island in Finland. In the end, it's taken back. It could be an interesting one. Not sure how long it is, so no, I'm not familiar with it. French Army vs. Tripods because Brits got steamrolled in War of the Worlds novel. Oh, there you go. That one amphibious airborne landing in the Tom Cruise movie where they keep dying and respawn at the start of the day. Yes, Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow. It depends which country you're in, the cinematic name of that movie. But great movie, by the way. Yes, I have that. That's on the list. The Battle of Sarajevo from Command & Conquer 3 with modern US forces. You'd be fighting the fanatical and technologically advanced Brotherhood of Nod. Interesting. Yeah, they failed. Oh, fuck me, dude. Where'd it go? They failed because of cop-out radiation storm stuff called an emission. Assault on the control room from Halo, maybe 10th Mountain or a Nordic Army. I've never played Halo, man. I've confessed this before. It's not a breaking confession. Basically, the game after you play as an agent trying to escape the side and find out what caused the emission. Sorry, I'm not reading anyone's names anymore because I'm just blasting through these comments. Sacking back the White House in Olympus has fallen. I don't know. The defense of the Minutemen fought from Fallout 4 using the 3rd US Infantry from Arlington. There you go. There's like historically appropriate stuff. Is that the one where the big crab comes? Is that the one down by the water? Parent Defense Economic Collaboration. I'd like to collab with Parent. I'm just not sure what or how or what we'd do. I guess I think I could maybe get him in. Maybe if I do a video and that logistics thing I talked about that I was kind of got sick of doing, maybe I get Parent to help out with the log part of provisions and supplies. That might be fun. I just try to make so, if he's down for it, I'm just try to make so there is more modern military, not always Americans. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to piss on your idea. It's just that it's got to make sense. I can't say it any other way. It's like, I'm not being like disrespectful. I'm just trying to make it stated as simply as I can. You don't know the intense PVZ Flaxen invasion. Oh, that's my comment. Up. Don't the aliens? Oh, yep. Flaxlands could be peaked because you could do multiple days where they keep coming back with tailored counter forces. That's actually a good point. The Flaxland one could be like Thermopylae, where if you watch the Thermopylae video, I did do what people always ask for, which is let the enemy adapt throughout the battle. But the reason I did that, I allowed many concessions, primarily like I gave the battle the 3-day period that it had in real world battle, right? So every night the Persians went away and they were like, oh, how are we going to beat these goddamn magic Greeks with their magic fire? And that was how they were adapting in that one. So it was a duration of the battle and also through a heap of, I pretty much went easy of them, allowed that to happen. But you could do that with the Flaxlands for that reason too. You beat them, they go away through the portal, they come back with some other crazy tech. Cool. Both sides will be fictional. I've already asked this before, but how would Future Soldiers Hunter Squad handle the final OG Modern Warfare 2 mission of hunting down and killing General Shepard? I'm not sure what's Future Soldiers Hunter Squad. I don't know what that is. The Battle of Yonkers from World War Z would be an interesting challenge. A modern amphibious landing would be sick. Someone suggested last time to do the Battle of the Blackwater, but with a modern amphibious unit, and that is fun. Marine Expeditionary Force. You could do the Royal Marines or something like that. Marine or because it's like they're coming from Essos, right? The force. So you say it's like a foreign amphibious unit. You say it's like the Spanish Foreign Legion or the French Marines or something like this. Modern Military and Space Jam 1. Oh, right. Marine Expeditionary Force versus Fire Nation in Eclipse episode of ATLA. I'm not sure what that is. You boys with the acronyms. I don't know a lot of these acronyms. ATLA. Is that Attack on Titan? Battle of me versus the rats and silverfish in the barracks. Oh boy, you got to get a report in for that. File your, I can't remember what it's called. The paperwork thing for an L&D. Is that an L&D? It's not what an L&D is for, but it's the only thing that I remember. What about the mission in Command and Conquer Tiberian Wars where they try to retake the White House, or maybe that mission somewhere in Italy where they stop the mothership and nod? Kind of obscure. X amount of troops versus the top at. Is this what? A real thing? Henry Stickmin completing the mission? Sorry that I keep saying stuff that's been done. No, it's all good, G. I appreciate all the suggestions because obviously you guys don't know what's already been said. But if it's on the list, I'm just going to tell you it's on the list. I'm not like shitting on you. It's just, I'll let you know that, I've got it, and then we'll move on. The Silent Cartographer from Halo 1 with modern Marines. Oh my god, why is it scrolling down like this? Flaxlands and Cannon are super duper adaptable because they can spend so long pouring through all that data they get with Chiefs Incursion. Yeah, that would be interesting. Wait, what if the UAE militaries of the SAS in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 where they finally stop Makarov? Oh, because that's set in UAE, isn't it? They get stronger each time. This is the Flaxlands. It'd be cruel to deny them that. Yeah, it would be cool. It's just the trouble is I'd be making up like their technology and their adaptation, which I don't think I'd ever do that to a level that would make people happy. There would be people saying they're way more technologically advanced. You only gave them this, they would have this, that, and the other. So I predict that would be a large critique of that one. Ghost Recon Future Soldier, the squad of the character you play as. Kozak is named Hunter. I didn't play Future Soldier. Funny you mentioned that though, because I'm playing Ghost Recon OG as my next gaming stream, starting this coming Wednesday. So if you want to see old school, no weapon display on screen Ghost Recon, shooting Georgian rebels. That's Georgia, the country, not the state in the United States of. Yeah, I'm going to be playing that this Wednesday, once a week on Wednesdays. If you have to be culturally accurate, the JGSDF's amphibious raid deployment was Fire Nation, The Last Airbender. Avatar, The Last Airbender. Oh, is that what ATL is? The Eclipse could be... Is there a big... If there's a big set-piece thing in Avatar, because Avatar does come up a bit, I will say that. It's just that I've never seen it, so I don't actually know the scale of this. Another defense one. Shogun's Castle, Blue White Samurai, Japan Self-Defense Force. Yeah, I read it. British unit with Centurion AVR. Is that Cent? Yep. Chieftains try and improve the outcome of Dunkirk. Basically, firebenders lost their powers for a brief window. There goes Avatar. Infantry company from the War of 1812 replacing the Rangers squad taking the White House Modern Warfare 2. The starting battle from Terminator Genesis. With modern forces without the inevitable shutdown that happens in the movie, it gets real hard without access to any plasma weaponry. I can't remember that one. They went back to the purple lasers, though, for that one. Georgia mentioned. I've been to Tbilisi, Georgia, funnily enough. I remember first learning the country Georgia and Tbilisi existed because of the first Ghost Recon game. And then, yeah, I went to Georgia as a grown human man adult, and I was like, hey, I remember this place from Ghost Recon. Operation Sunburst, Battle of Anchorage, Battle of Bunker Hill, Battle of Griffith Observatory. Just pick any unit. If you assist on it, must be US. You're putting words in my mouth, Jakub. I'm not saying I'm insisting it's being US. I'm saying it has to make sense. I feel it's like attacking your sensibilities that I told you very politely that I don't necessarily want to use the Lithuanian army to attack fucking, what do you call it, Operation Sunburst, because I don't think it makes sense. Just like, you know what I mean? I didn't say that I want to use the Americans for everything. I'm just saying I want the Force to have some sort of link to the source material. That's all. Similar Alera infantry equip. What is this? You have a gaming channel, is it on here? No, it's this channel. It's locked. It's just the gaming streams are locked behind the members. Maybe I'll make the game streams public at some point, but I'm too scared at the moment because I'm trash. So yeah, they're locked behind the paid streams. I already don't really feel right having asked this before in chat, but fuck it, I'll ball again. How would a Delta Force company handle hunting down Obol squad from Zenless Zone 0? I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, the only reason rewinding one. The only reason I got the gaming going because I like gaming. I always have. I lost a lot of gaming time when I started editing, so it's a way for me to get back gaming time. And also, someone told me Perrin has a gaming channel, and I was talking about it in a chat just like this. I was like, "Oh, I miss games. I want to play games, but you know, I think it might be cringe. And I'm doing this YouTube video stuff." And they were like, "Perrin games." I was like, "What? Fucking Perrin's game?" And I'm different. That's it. That was the only the only approval I needed, the only authority I needed. Atla Eclipse is a set-piece battle. Multiple units making amphibious landing. Okay, that sounds sick. I'm going to write that down then. Fucking Airbender. You're a bender. Airbender Eclipse battle. There. Battle Megalith from Ace Combat 4. Battle from the end of Last Samurai. Rebel Samurai place. Japanese soft. Oh yeah, Last Samurai. That's actually not on my list. Last Samurai. Not a suggestion, more of a question. Will we ever get sci-fi versus modern as a CSRC video? Yeah, most certainly. Oh, I mean, I've done Star Wars. That's the biggest, about as sci-fi as it gets, right? Like Battle of Hoth. I did Norwegians versus the Empire. So, yeah, it's been done. It's not like I'm against it or I haven't done it. Lithuania doing, that sounds like Anarchy chess. What? Any Ace Combat set-piece battle would work, but I doubt CSRC's played Ace Combat. Yeah, well, your doubts are founded because I've explicitly stated I've never played Ace Combat. Like we have the Hoth battle. Yep, yeah, Last Samurai. Perrin does a whole bunch of stuff like Terra Invicta and Xenonos. Yeah, I briefly looked at his gaming channel because as soon as someone told me, I was like, what the fuck? How's he doing this? He has a whole separate channel for his game stuff. I don't. I've just got the streams. And I'm not going to start putting like gaming videos up. I'm just streaming it, honestly, like selfishly, pretty much because it's fun for me. Okay, boys, I'm going to wrap it up. I've only got one more slide left, and that's pretty much... I was leaning towards Battle of Yonkers. I think it would be pretty easy. It's another zombie one. My only concern is that I'm using another good zombie one coming back off a good zombie one already. So once you do Battle of Yonkers, there ain't much more zombie giant ones left. It's probably the biggest of the big that I can think of. So I'd like to do it because I think it'd be pretty easy to script out, pretty easy to do. And it would be more a realistic one. I don't think I'd have to get crazy with the animation. It would be more like Helm's Deep, as in you plan it and you could effectively plan this because obviously the way it's written in the book is absurd. You could, with some very simple fixes, vastly improve on the defensive plan from the book and make this a resounding victory quite easily. So I think this one would go more the way of Helm's Deep, as in it would just be like, hey man, they're going to get annihilated. This is how it's going to go down. It's not going to be like a fantastic narrative heavy one like the way Thermopylae and this one, Winterfell, was. Because I don't think you'd need it to be. I think this one you could plausibly, very efficiently wipe out the zombies just with some slightly effective and workable planning, unlike what they did in the book. Yonkers, let's go. Please something where Op4 can shoot back. Okay, rejects Yonkers. Up, 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 up. Yonkers, let's go. Yonker. Isn't there there's a Tyler the Creator song called Yonkers, isn't there? How's that one go? Yonkers. Yonkers lyrics. Threesomes with a fucking Triceratops reptile. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I had to Google it real quick. I knew there was some insane line involving dinosaurs. Don't forget the zombos in the back lines and stuff. Will Sharp be there? Yeah, maybe. More about the Menace mission. Look, man, I can't lie. It scares me that I've never heard of this Menace. What about the Battle of Defense of Jerusalem for another big zombie one if you're really desperate for another zombie thing? I think World War Z is on the list. Yes. Another Menace mission. You could also see how small of a force you can get to work. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. So much like I did in Helm's Deep, I try and pretty much tailor the smallest size force that plausibly could get the job done. That's that's what I'm going for. Operation Sunburst, Modern Army replace NCR, not sure what unit. So defended against the Brotherhood of Steel. I've got that on the list, man. I do have Operation Sunburst on the list. Also need to remove the stupid explosions don't affect zombie stuff. Yeah, very dumb. Maybe they've got a case for fragmentation explosives, but obviously Max Brooks doesn't know about white phosphorus and thermobarics and incendiary. You know, it's just, yeah. The menace like evil cyborgs that turn flesh and proceed into souls. Effect, not effect, before someone points it out. Oh, the old affect and effect. They still get me tricked up when I'm doing my script writing. DocuZoom feels too much like cheating to take away the main thing. World War Z, Zax have gone. Zax, I like that. How dang tough they are as part of the canon. Aren't they just regular zombies? Are you talking about World War Z zombies? They're vulnerable to headshots, correct? Like any other zombie. If you launch a like headshots or brain trauma, if we're going off standard zombie lore, a thermobaric explosion is liquefying zombie brains. The Fall of Jerusalem in the movie is so BS. I'm sorry, I know I'm doing the book is better, but if it is, you do Jerusalem, please go by the book a little more. See, I don't even remember the Jerusalem bit from the book. I remember the Yonkers from the book, but I don't remember how Jerusalem goes down in the book versus how it goes in the movie. At Sunburst, NCR, the attacking force. Ah, yeah, my bad. I got it flipped. I got it backwards. So attack the facility against the... That would make more sense because I've already... But I attacked the NCR last time, so now I'm going to attack the Brotherhood. I'd kind of like to do a defensive one in Fallout, but now the problem is if I replace the Brotherhood of Steel, now I'm attacking the NCR again, and then I get the NCR fans foaming at the mouth in the comment section, very upset with me that I've killed the NCR twice. That's what's going to happen there. But I guess you got to do it. Hail Caesar. When you released the list, when you fucking you goaded me into a false sense of security by being sincere and giving me good suggestions and talking about the current topic, and then you hit me with another. Not sure what battle to request is as many, but some sort of engagement against battle mechs from BattleTech. World War Z book zombies are regular zombies, but nearly invincible outside of a headshot. Right, nearly invincible. In what way does... this is one of those things, right? French Marines take King's Landing for Stannis Baratheon. because of French invading fantasy England sounds fun. Yeah, that could be a bit spicy, but that could be potentially fun. Or like a joint French and Spanish Marine force. Because Spanish have Marines, don't they? Well, Spanish have a foreign legion. I don't know, French have Marines. US Marines attacking Enclave oil rig. World War Z zombie durability is internally inconsistent. Battle of Hogwarts, British Special Forces in Paris. It's on the list. It will be done. And it will be British. Could imagine fighting zombies in MOP level 4. Yeah, that was one of the biggest dum-dums from the film, huh? Last suggestion of the day for me, what about Demolition of the Land Dreadnought from the first Valkyria Chronicles game? But instead of Squad 7, it's a modern Swedish Polish army regiment. I'm not sure what Valkyria Chronicles is, man. US Marines taking down the Enclave could slap. Yeah, well, I did Rangers v NCR Rangers. It's almost 3 in the morning for me, so you guys have a good one. Peace out, my man. If you want Defense do Battle of Griffith Observatory. It's NCR versus Attacking Brotherhood. Just play as NCR. Griffith Observatory. Oh, that's from the show, right? That's not in the games. That's the one from the show. That's not a terrible idea. I'll add that one because that is not on the list. Assuming that is, I'm going to write. Assuming that is what I'm saying it is. Griffith Observatory Fallout TV show. Yeah, nice. Up. Killing Floor video, the game that invented the Left 4 Dead formula. Amazing stream. Goodbye, everyone. Delta Force. Goodbye, Charles Pernthola 6235. Delta Force infiltrating out of heaven from Metal Gear. Something from Ryan Harvest could be cool from show. Boys, thank you from all your suggestions from show. Jacob. Yes, got it. It's on the list. Thank you for that idea. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for playing along. I think this is the longest stream I've ever done. You absolute madman. I make these PowerPoints, and I finish making the PowerPoints and I go, oh man, this is too little. It's going to be over for like 30 minutes. You got to give the people what they want. You need more slides. And then it goes for 2 hours on average. But that's it, boys. I'm going to wrap it up because this, if you're watching the video now, you've just been staring at this image of World War Z and me talking and reading chat for like an hour. So it's not very compelling. Thanks everyone for jumping in. Have a little, here you go. Have an emoji there in the chat. Thank you for everyone in the chat who jumped on. Thank you for all the insane LeBron James memes. I'm going to have to Google that when this is done and understand what that's about. Thanks to everyone who contributed ideas, and just thanks to anyone who came along and sat through 2 hours and 40 minutes of this insanity. If there's no final questions or like last minute genius suggestions, boys, let me check real quick. Brom speed. Mate, the sun is rising over you. I might have to place a curse on you. Great stream. Bye. Okay, have a nice day. You too, Jacob. 2 objectives. Looking forward to the next vid. Kuba, you're here, my man. Welcome. Bye, mate. Have a good one. You've been. I haven't heard from you. Cheers, Kuba. Sorry I was late, but it's great being here for. I can't read your name. Darius, you too, man. Cheers, boys. Hey, thanks to my regulars. Thanks to all some new faces. And I look around, you know what that means. Not everyone's been listening to the first rule of the chat. We don't talk about Fight Club. But nah, all jokes aside, thank you, everyone. I'll see you on the next stream. And I don't have a closing statement yet, so I never know how to end these. So I'm just going to say goodbye, peace, and thank you. Ending the stream. Ciao, boys.